Welcome to the Legendary Upside podcast YouTube channel. My name is Pat Crane. You can follow all of my content at legendaryupside.com. With me today, Rich Hribar for our Angles and Upside podcast. Reebs, how's it going?
What's going on, brother? We are almost one full month in the books here,
I
which
know
is
it's
nice.
the quarter marker for the season, which is always kind of crazy. Although it's not quite because they keep making the season longer. But um, we're going to be diving into the main slate. We got 11 games here this week, a little lighter because there's a Dublin game and 2 Monday Night Football games. A little housekeeping before we get going. Next week, we won't have a pod. I'm going to be going away on Friday, so won't be around. We'll be back here for week 6 after a little 1 week break. But yeah, let's go ahead and dive into it. Let's kick things off with the Chargers at Giants. This was the cover boy for me on the walkthrough, where I break all these games down. You can also check out Rich's worksheet where he breaks all the games down. Highly recommend that. The Chargers are pretty big favorites here on the road, and they're facing a Giants run defense that ranks dead last in rushing DVOA. They're 30th in EPA, 30th in success rate. So I wrote this up as a bullish spot for Amarian Hampton as he faces a Giants team that not only can't stop the run, but has a rookie quarterback. And so most likely we're looking at positive game script for the Chargers. We've heard a lot about the Chargers being really tilted to the pass this year. They have been from a pass rate over expected standpoint. And even last week, they did have a positive 2% PROE, but they've had pass rates of 70%, 59%, and 67%. Those aren't like super high. They're definitely
Right.
tilted to the pass, but they are willing to run. And I think it would make a lot of sense for them to try to get the run game going a bit this week with, they've lost Najee Harris and they've been kind of needing to go through the passing game as the engine of the offense, which is working. But this is a team that's like got to have Super Bowl aspirations, right? They're trying to win one of the toughest divisions and go to the Super Bowl. You want to have the run game going, and this is like a kind of an obvious spot for them to try to get Hampton going, who's had a good success rate. He's the type of guy that they probably actually
Yeah.
feel comfortable leaning on. We saw them throw to him a bunch last week. It's the rush yards over expected, the explosiveness that we haven't really seen out of him yet. But this is kind of the spot. Maybe we get the explosiveness on top of really strong usage and decent success rate.
This feels like just a win-win kind of outcome for Hampton because either they're running heavy from the beginning against the defense that has been exploitable against the run, and he's just downhill, stacking opportunities, or the Chargers get ahead with the pass and then just run him afterwards, which could definitely play out in either direction. But I just feel like no matter what we get to the outcome, we're gonna be looking at the box score where the touches are just gonna be there for Hampton. He'll be a guy
Yeah.
that's upwards, 20 plus touches. After Harris, the plays Harris was off the field last week. I mean, Hampton played 92% of those snaps and he had all 25 backfield touches. I don't know about the passing stuff, like how sticky it'll be. Like, I don't know how many Chargers games we're going to get where the running backs and tight ends like are in the 15 target combined range, but he still had 19 rushing attempts in a game where that was like kind of like neutral and like they were, like they were still kind of like playing aggressively.
Yeah.
This could be an opportunity where he still has like he could get like upwards like to 25 attempts and like the possible apex outcome of the like this game playing out full on. So this just lines up for him, I think, to no matter which way you play it, him to come out with a lot of touches. And when you're just going to get that many touches from a running back that doesn't come off the field, because I don't think either of us expect like Hassan Haskins or Kamani Vidal to like really
No.
cut into his workload. So you're just going to get to throw those touches at the wall.
Yeah. And there's kind of like, there's been, I think obviously before last week, people were really worried about Hampton. I had to like pound the table to start him over ridiculous, like, hey, should we start Baseball Tootin here? Hey,
Oh,
should we start Travion Henderson here? I'm like, no, we have
yeah.
Hampton. We're starting him, right? Like that's kind of the level of where things had gotten to on Hampton. And then he has the really strong fantasy game last week. But like he's also, when you look at his profile from a real life perspective, I don't think it's particularly worrying. He's got a good success rate. He's been used in the passing game, and we just haven't seen him be explosive yet. that to me is like kind of a buy low running back profile if you're going to get work, and he will get work here. So yeah, kind of a lay. I mean, he's going to be pretty chalky this week in DFS, not like the
Mhm.
uber mega chalk level, but he's a pretty obvious play. But also like I maybe lean into it a little bit. I think this is one that people have identified, but I also think maybe he should be like uber mega chalk here. So um, or maybe he would be had he shown a little bit more explosiveness, but you get the really, really nice matchup here where this could be kind of his coming out party. So I'm
Mhm.
very excited about him. What are your thoughts on the passing game here for the Chargers? Because the Giants have not been good against the pass. They have a good defensive
No.
line, but they've still not been good against the pass.
No, I mean, I've been pretty bullish on just like riding this Quentin Johnston wave because, even in the offseason,
Mm,
he was one of my more popular best ball guys just because I was like, hey, this is a player that was a round one pick, has the archetypical profile we look for from a physical side, got better in year two, is attached to a quarterback we believe in. Like, why does nobody want this guy? And I get it, like the drops and stuff and the volatility, but then he comes out in week one as like that awesome game, and I'm like, oh man, like, all right, so like he's definitely still like a big focal point of this offense. Week two, he has the 60-yard touchdown, and then I'm like, all right, week three, this would be kind of a spot for him to slow down. And he didn't like destroy in the box score, but he was like winning consistently vertically still against Patrick Surtain. And it's just like this is like it's here. Like there will be weeks where he has down weeks for sure for fantasy football, because that's just how fantasy football works. But like I feel pretty bullish on like his just like this is a guy you just want to play as like a wide receiver two every week, and you just take the bitter with the sweet because the sweet looks like it's going to be a lot more of a regular outcome than I think people were expecting it to be.
Yeah, I mean he's had a decent amount of double coverage. He's in 65th percentile there, but he's got a 14.2 ADOT, so definitely some splash play potential. He's running a little bit hot. His yards per
Yeah,
target is 10.9, which is going to come down a little bit. He's averaging 2.7 fantasy points over expected per game, which is 91st percentile. So he's definitely running hot, but the dude's averaging 18.6 PPR points per game. So like, yeah, of course he's running a little hot. He's been awesome. So
and he's had all
uh
that red zone equity that goes back to last year. I mean, he had more red zone and end zone targets than Ladd last year, and that's kind of
mm,
rolled over this year. That's in the one bugaboo for Ladd, who is, I would argue, is in a really good spot this week to kind of
yeah.
rebound. It's just the only thing I think we have to worry about is just the touchdown performance, kind of moving forward, because we saw him last year. He was 44th in like a red zone usage. And so far this season, Allen and Johnston both have 5 red zone targets. McConkey has 1. Herbert's thrown 11 passes into the end zone, none to McConkey so far.
Mm,
We have a few receivers like that are weird, right? That like outside of the red zone, they're like a really focal point of the offense. And then when they get in the red zone for some reason, like the play designs aren't for them. Obviously, Puka's the largest one,
right.
like over his career. Like Puka has no end zone targets either this year. He has like a 45% target share outside of the red zone, which is hilarious. And then Zay Flowers is the other guy, right? Like he has like this
Yeah, yeah.
immense target share outside the red zone. Whenever the Ravens get in the red zone, they're like, what do we threw it to Tylen Wallace here? Like, oh, it's just all that stuff. So I do think this is a good flop lag spot for Ladd. I think Keenan's
I
running a
agree.
little pure, like, because Keenan, like, the box scores aren't very flattering. Like, there's definitely some touchdown deodorant for Keenan a little bit,
Mhm.
where I think that we could see some of these lines because, like, from a pure just box score stance, Ladd and Keenan, like, yardage wise, hasn't been different weeks 1 through 3. It's just the touchdowns have gone to Keenan.
Although I would say so Keenan's only at 79% route participation, so his like
True,
target his
true,
per
true,
route
true.
stuff has been quite a bit stronger than Ladd's. 1.96 yards per hour into 1.37. 27% targets per hour into 18%. So yeah, Ladd's I mean, but it's not bearish that Ladd's out there a lot. He's actually playing all the snaps. And Ladd does play in the slot still. He's 85th percentile in the slot. He just stays on the field when he's not in the slot. So
Mhm.
it could be worse for Ladd. I agree with you. I don't know that Ladd's like Davis mentioned him on our pod as someone that he was pretty interested in DFS. I'm not sure. Like, I mean, it makes sense like that. People aren't going to be excited to play him, but I've kind of viewing him more as like if you have him in redraft, like I'm keeping the faith. I'm still starting him.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on him as a DFS play? Because he's 6,500 on DraftKings.
That's the rub, right?
People
Is
aren't
the
really going to
is
play him.
the rub is the cost and what he has to achieve at
Yeah.
that cost. Like, I mean, he has to basically approach like 25 plus PPR points, which is probably a tougher ask in this game and potential implied game environment, right? Even with the Chargers being pass heavy, probably
Right.
a lot to ask. And that's just the one kind of roadblock I have because it's another slate that's just littered with good wide receiver plays again.
Yeah.
So that's the one rub I have is I just keep kind of saying, like, is he going to make my pull? He's hanging around the outskirts right now. So, but I think the problem is the price point, and then just saying, like, what's the path for this game environment to get him to like pushing 25 PPR points?
Yeah, Johnston's my favorite of the Chargers pieces here because when I think about what this game environment could be, I mean, it's kind of hard for me to see the Giants like really pushing the Chargers here. I mean, maybe Dart comes in and it is awesome and this game's like way more fun than you would expect, but I think generally like the on the Giants side of this, so they're going against a Chargers defense that's been really, really good in coverage and good against the pass overall. They're number one in dropback success rate. The teams have had
Mm-hmm.
the worst success rate against them. So, and they're pretty good across the board, driven by really strong coverage. Um, Dayball's like job this week is to not let Jackson Dart like get exposed and look bad.
Right.
So I don't know, like, are they gonna if they're down 10 in entering the fourth quarter, like how much urgency are they gonna be playing with? Are they gonna be like, hey, let's like score a touchdown, even if it takes us 10 minutes? Like are they like you know what I mean? Like all that stuff where you're like, what's your goal? Is your goal to win this game or is your goal to have Jackson Dart look cool? And I think it's probably the latter. So Johnston being able to get there quickly, maybe not counting on a ton of volume. He's more intriguing to me there. On the Giants side, I think Malik Neighbors is interesting as someone where it's like if you're Dart, if you're Dayball, like you got to get Neighbors back on track. That's a really, really important part of what they're doing. So I think I mean, even with the quarterback benching and everything, like he's at 2.02 yards per out run. So he's been pretty good.
Yeah.
Obviously last week, not very
Yeah.
productive,
Spags
but
took him out of the game.
yeah, but I think he's kind of intriguing. Like I'm kind of more intrigued by him than Ladd as like a weird DFS pivot. Uh, I mean, he'll have some ownership, I guess, but he won't be completely forgotten about. But and then
He's not gonna be super
Scatterbo,
popular.
he won't be super popular. Yeah, Scatterbo's the other guy, the other piece that people are going to
He'll
be
be
going to
popular
here
because of the cost.
for sure. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, it's I mean, I love the Cam Scatterbo, the player profile. Like when I was doing the prospect stuff, I was like, this is a dude that's gonna like test poorly, like just look
Yep,
bad. But he's
yep.
like such a try hard player that when
But
when
he
he's in the
didn't test
building.
as bad. Like there's like it's like, hey man, 4.7's your line. Your line's
Yep.
4. Get below a 4.7, dude. And he did. He did.
Yeah, but I was like, he's such a try hard dude. Like people like in the building, like he's gonna like in practice, like he's gonna like earn stuff. Like he's a wild man.
Oh yeah.
Daigle said on Tuesday, he was like on our show Wednesday night, he was like, yeah, Scatto definitely eats crayons. I was like, yeah, I was like, yeah, man. Like, he's just he's just wild.
Well,
And also, anytime Scatteroo does anything, I get tweeted because I supposedly look like Cam Scatteroo's dad. Like they're like people
really?
just blow up. Yeah, people blow me up. You can Google it, and I don't know if you put it up.
I'm
But
googling right now.
during the Texas game, like I just got so flooded with Reeb's Scatteroo's dad like takes.
Oh my god.
Like like
This is kind of crazy.
like so I feel like I kind of root for him. This is my son, like an extension of my son out there. Like, so if anyone's
A lot like you. Is this a
yeah,
picture of him hugging Cam Scatterbo?
I'm just gonna hug like my son, man. Scatteroo's dad.
Yeah.
But this is a guy that like consistently like just kind of gets what's not there for him. Like he creates yards. He's like a bowling ball after contact. He can catch the ball. The only thing he really sucks at is pass protection, but that hasn't been a roadblock for snaps so far early in the season. And it wasn't against Steve Spagnuolo's defense, which you would figure would be a time to get him off the field and maybe trust a guy like Devin Singletary. And that didn't happen. The only thing you kind of question mark here versus last week is that the removal of Russell Wilson is Russell Wilson. I've always comped him to James Harden.
I pulled up the picture on
you. Yeah, my son came. Yeah, I can't even knock it. But like during that game, dude, I was just getting flooded with tweets. Like, yeah, But
All right,
I've
fair.
always comped Wilson to James Harden, right? Because he either shoots a three or takes a layup. Like there's no like he checks, so he'll check down. Is Dart gonna check down? Are we gonna get the dump offs to Cam Scattaboo? Like because he had 8
Right.
targets on Sunday night, and like those are floor savers when you're able to just kind of get those dump offs. That's the only question mark I have. I think he's a really solid like volume RB2. I think he offers upside and that receiving upside. It's just the Dart is like a wild card here.
Yeah, and he's chalky. So I think that
Right.
that makes it harder. It's like I feel much better
Well, both
about.
these guys, I think from a DFS stance, if either the way to play it is you fade them, or the way to do you could put them both together is a way to play it too. Because not inherently do you see a lot of the stacking of running backs in a game. Most
Yeah,
gamers don't like to do that. But if they're both going to be like 20% owned or around that area, and you still kind of want to get exposure to that, the way to kind of beat the field, like one of them is probably going to be in almost like a third of the lineups that we see, but both of
right.
them together like will be a unique way to do it if you're worried about the chalk part of it.
I think you really need the passes to Scattaboo
Yeah.
then for that to pay
Oh
off. So
yeah.
that
Oh yeah. I think you need him
yeah,
regardless, but
you kind of need him regardless. Yeah, that's true. I mean, Dart is a bit of a scrambler. I mean, he was
Mhm.
like a little bit like coming out,
He
comping
scrambled
him to
20% of his pressures last year.
yeah. He's a little Daniel Jonesy, a little like early career Carson Wentzy, and he's like he's gonna be he's willing to take shots downfield. He's got a decent deep ball. He's gonna scramble. So yeah, not necessarily. I'm like I don't think this is gonna have like a really high success rate this week. There's gonna be kind of like flashes of potential. But yeah, the big question is does he dump off to Scattaboo? Which let's hope he does, because Scattaboo's, I mean, he's got a 29% targets per out run,
Mhm.
1.93 yards per
Great
out
in the
run.
passing game, man. That goes back to
Great
like
in the passing game.
college.
Yeah,
So hopefully that doesn't get removed. Well, I mean, I would assume they're dialing stuff up for him, especially if they're going to your point of like trying to just make Jackson Dart look cool, like,
yeah,
like
yeah,
not lose. But that's the reason he had to start though, is because they were going to be at home. And like, imagine if you start Russell Wilson again and like the first drive you go 3 and out, like, dude, the crowd is going to be like frothing at the mouth. Like, I mean,
yeah.
he threw a ball away on 4th down in the end zone. You can't come back from that, man. Unless you're Geno Smith, but
I mean,
um,
yeah, I think I was talking to Sacrilegious about this. Not we didn't record it. We were just talking,
mhm.
and it was sort of, if you think about Dayball, like how many losses he has. Like he probably like 6 7 losses in him this year, but Dart losses are only worth half a loss. So
Mhm.
he did kind of the math, I think, where it's like, well, I've got 3 Wilson losses. I'm already like to half my losses. But I can spend I can get 6 losses with the rookie and still maybe keep my job. So yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing here. Um
I will say, as bad as the spot does look objectively on paper for Dart, we were in a very similar spot last year with Drake May making his first start against the Texans, who were a very good defense, and everyone was worried about the pressure that game
mhm,
because and they got blown out. But Drake May still had 20 fantasy points, so
right.
I mean, I've always kind of had said like Dart has like that Mayish kind of qualities about him as like a fantasy quarterback. And instead of May, rookie year May, he has Malik Neighbors. So like there still
Right.
could I could see the Giants like losing this game handily, and somehow Dart still like being okay, especially at like near min pricing.
Yeah, 4,500 on DraftKings. He actually does kind of pop as an interesting play. Um and honestly, he might be like because we also have Mariota this week, so I'm not sure that Dart's going to be even that popular. He might be a pivot off of Scattaboo, where you're betting on him to scramble a bunch and maybe
Correct. Yeah.
not.
You
Yeah,
could play. I
so
think you can play him by himself, even like Mariota last week.
for
Like
sure. Yeah. No, I
because just
think,
because he's so cheap.
and there's a lot of like good expensive chalk on this slate,
Hmm.
which
Hmm.
we'll get to. So yeah, I mean, you accomplish something by saving that salary at quarterback.
In this game
Um,
being early, like the way people play some of the pieces in this game, because the a la carte pieces there are popular pieces. Like we talk about both running backs. So it's another like overloaded late slate this week.
Totally.
So the way the things go early are always going to impact again what happened late. Last week ended up really good with like the AJ Brown and Nico Collins stuff, and I was able to play around some stuff last week in the late stuff. So there are some ways to play this game like you're unique that could open up some things you want to do chalky wise in these late games.
That's a great point. Panthers at Patriots. I'll kind of kick things off here on the Patriots side. I'm excited for Drake May in this game. He's been very consistent, really strong success rate in the last 2 games. Not so great in week 1, but if you look at his season-long numbers, he's looking like it's a weird thing right now. I look at EPA per game and success rate, and you kind of have like 3 tiers. You have the this can't possibly sustain tier, which Daniel Jones is leading. And you have like these guys are actually really good tier with Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jared Goff. And then Drake May is kind of in tier 3, a little bit ahead of like Baker Mayfield and success rate, very similar in EPA. So it's been a strong start to the season. The issue for fantasy is that you can really only stack them with Hunter Henry. But just in terms of like May's outlook, he gets a Panthers pass rush that has been super weak. I mean, they're dead last in pressure
They're dead
rate,
last.
29th in quick pressure rate. Pass rush win rate, they're 28th, they're 30th in PFF's pass rush grades. Like, there's nothing popping here. They don't even really blitz that much. Like,
they have a 1% sack rate.
Yeah, so like May's pass protection is still like in the numbers they look okay. I think they're not great, and they might be without Jared Wilson, their center, this week. He's had 2 DNPs. I didn't see if he practiced yet today, but their offensive line like remains a pretty big concern. You want to be targeting them in matchups where, or at least May in matchups where they have weak pass rushes against them, because that's going to be a huge part of how they look week to week. So this is a really good spot for him. Panthers aren't great in coverage either. Obviously, they were good last week against Penix, but I think this could be a spot where they take kind of a big step back, and May's quite good. I mean, last week, like the Patriots should have been much more productive.
Yeah.
He had an end zone interception. They had the end zone fumble that Stevenson coughed up. From redraft perspective, I do think we see Travion Henderson get a bigger role. I've noted, though, he has a 17% success rate this year.
I think
in the
he's
next
dead
gen stuff.
last in rushing yards, like over expectation per carry. I think he's the lowest rate.
I think there's one more guy after. He's running back 47. And he's running back 48 in success rate. So there's definitely, I know from his own terribleness that there must be at least 48 guys here. But yeah, he's really, really struggled as a runner. And success rate is one of those things where like the running backs, it's a real problem, because I think it affects like your playing time and the coaches being willing to trust you. And so that's, it's like trust is what would get him on the field here, because the other guys, Gibson
Yeah, it's
fumbled
the
last week
Kareem
too.
Hunt stat,
Stevenson had
right?
2.
Like it's the guys that keep
Yeah, it's the
pick
Kareem
up the
Hunt
yards
stat.
they're supposed to get. Like it's like it's not necessarily a fantasy stat where people get agitated, but it is like a real life impactful stat.
It is a fantasy stat, but people don't think about it as much. But yeah, Kareem Hunt's running back 2 with a 59% success rate. Like that is why he plays. So yeah, I think, I don't know. I mean, I guess from a redraft perspective, I'm kind of taking my shots with Henderson, but I wouldn't be like rushing to get him in lineups necessarily. It's just like if you're thinking like, hey, I considered starting him last week because I'm weak at running back, and now should I start him this week? Like, yeah, I think you probably should, but it wouldn't shock me, honestly, if like by the third quarter Stevenson's playing a bunch.
Yeah, it's kind of a wild card. I'll probably take some shots just because if it happens, it'll be too late to go back. Like because this would be like at home, a 5-point. I think this is the most the highest point total, or the largest point spread the Patriots have had as a favorite since Tom Brady. So like
that's crazy.
Yeah, and it took a lot to get out, but they're facing a team that is not good against the run. Like, so it's like, all right, I do want to mix them in just in case. Cause like Vrabel's doing but Vrabel has no incentive to come out and tell us like it's going to be his backfield. Cause today he had to quote like, no, business as usual. Like, but like, why would he tell us the truth? Like, why would
Right.
he tell Panthers the truth like ahead of time? Like, there's no advantage for him saying anything. So just
Mike
in
Reese also
case,
had he was repping as the RB3 on Wednesday. So
right?
there's some things are percolating a little bit.
Yeah, so I just want to mix him in. Like, yeah, I'm not aggressively, but I do just want to be a little bit over on him just in case like it is like a 60% backfield touch game for him,
Mm,
because if it happens, you can't go back next week too. Like, I just want to mix
totally.
him in just in case. Like, just in case it's like one of those opportunities. I also think too, like, where his success rate is right now is not indicative of like the player I still believe he is. So, like, early career, not
Totally,
getting a
totally.
lot of touches either. Like, he's got a low
Yeah,
success
small
rate, not
sample.
getting a lot of opportunities. It's like, what if we give him like an actual run? If we give him actual run, what does it look like? Maybe they just want to explore that while they're a home favorite and they feel like they could potentially control this game. Obviously, Antonio Gibson still remains a wild card though. Like, he's still like has played
Yeah.
enough to where you don't need it's not just the Henderson fumbles. It's, dude, I remember, so Henderson fumbled the opening drive. I'm watching a game with my son, and I'm like,
You
oh,
mean
I was like,
Stevenson?
Stevenson, I'm sorry. Stevenson fumbled. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, oh, they benched Henderson last week for the holding penalties. Let's see how they handle this with Stevenson. And the very first play of the next drive, Antonio Gibson comes in. I was like, God
Yeah.
damn. But then, Gibson fumbles too in the second half. And then the
Yep.
whole fourth quarter was all Henderson. Too little, too late, obviously. But like I said, I'm going to mix them in just in case, but there's no clear read on the situation. I think we can't operate under the capacity that it's just me given to him too. There could be
Yeah.
hijinks here.
This also, like, he's 5,200 on DraftKings. I play more kind of smaller field stuff. I don't know, or medium anyway, and I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm actually. It's more of kind of a redraft play, or I don't know. I haven't done any dog bowls this year, but like maybe kind of a scroll down guy. I have no idea what his ADP is or if that is a good take or not. But like kind of like
I don't know.
kind of a dart type of dude. I do think he's in play at 5,200 though on DraftKings. I doubt I end up playing him. We'll see. He's definitely intriguing. On the other side of the game, I could see Tedder McMillan has been awesome. I think I'm definitely like a little bit higher on him than I think consensus this week. He's, in a spot where like the Panthers have been really pass heavy at times. Last week, obviously, they just had a 52% pass rate because they shut out
They didn't
the
have to, yeah.
Falcons. They didn't have to throw, but they had an 80% pass rate the week before against the Cardinals, and that's honestly when Bryce Young has been most efficient. He had a 75% success rate in week 2, 55% 55th percentile in EPA per play. Fell to 43rd percentile last week. So his best, when he's looked the best in terms of efficiency, it's actually been when they just like had to chuck it constantly. The Patriots aren't good against the pass. Christian Gonzalez has been limited again this week. He's been kind of, I don't know when he's coming back because he keeps kind of doing this limited thing and then he doesn't play. So I don't know if they'll have him or not. They have an okay pass rush, but in coverage they've been brutal. And McMillan's been really good. So he's another guy where the salary and some of the other opportunity cost in DFS doesn't really make him like a super strong play. Is also going to catch maybe
He's a
some
lot cheaper
ownership.
on FanDuel this week.
Okay,
He's
that's
58.
interesting.
He's
Then
5,800 on FanDuel.
I would, yeah, finding ways to be like a little bit overweight on him this week are interesting to me because he's just been really good. 24% targets per out run, 20% first read target rate, which is like really strong and elite for a rookie who's played 3 games. And like he's running, so he's averaging minus 4.6 fantasy points over expected per game, which is 7th percentile. So the value of his role is quite a bit larger than we've gotten in terms of fantasy scoring so far. Big positive regression candidate that way. So I do like him. I don't know how much of him I'll ultimately have in DFS, but a week where I think he could break out in a pretty big way.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'd love to see him worked more into the base offense. He still has like some kind of like red. I think at 5,800 on FanDuel is where he looks the most appealing.
I like it.
But he's wide receiver 45 in target share on early downs. He's only been targeted on 16.7% of team targets on early downs, and then on third downs it's a 45% target share, which is wide receiver 4. So we're not getting a lot of diverse usage, which kind of marriages where like Bryce Young's problems are. So McMillan's played 86% of his snaps out wide. Well, Bryce Young has thrown thrown 52% of his passes between the numbers. He's like actually the one small king guy that actually throws over the middle of the field. It's the sixth highest rate in the NFL. He's only thrown outside the numbers. He's 31st in throw rate outside of the numbers. So
the trick
currently,
is to be short and have a weak arm. then you can throw.
The field. Yeah. So currently the plan for McMillan through these first 3 weeks is really only to get him the ball in like kind of these one-on-one situations. Like we're not getting a lot of nuance with him, because if you look at him, he's been targeted on 50% of his routes against man coverage.
Wow.
And then 21% against zone coverage. And it all that like lines up to where I said, a fun little factoid of this game is that he actually did play against Christian Gonzalez in college when he was a true freshman at Arizona. He actually had 48 yards and a touchdown in the game against them when Gonzalez was at Oregon. So maybe you get a little one-on-one. But if Gonzalez comes back, because the Patriots are heavy man defense anyways, if Gonzalez comes back, it probably only pushes them to play more man coverage. And in like at his salary, and if you're playing him as a wide receiver too, like in these matchups, because like a lot of times before like wide receiver cornerback matchups like got off the rails, like during that period, like it became like all the craze and then got off the rails.
Right.
You still only need to win a couple reps as a receiver. Like, we're taking a sample size of like, say, average of 30 to 35 routes anyways. And then in true man-to-man coverage, like the best teams that play man coverage at the highest rates are well below, they're like around 40%. So we're taking like this 35 route sample and we're already cutting it down to like 16 routes where maybe he lines up against this one individual player. And like, you still only have to win. And if you only win, say 3 of those 15 routes, like where you don't even have the win, like that still matters for fantasy football. And it's like one of those things that like took a while for like people to like realize, but like before it got overweighted in like individual matchups. It's like just because this guy lines up against this guy doesn't mean he plays every single snap against this guy in a game.
Right.
And then when you're a wide receiver, the way scoring works for fantasy football is if you win 1 to 2 of your reps, like that's still that can still be significant outcome and impacting your fantasy line.
Yeah, and you also have the larger thing of like the Patriots secondary has absolutely sucked this year. So it's not like Christian Gonzalez coming back won't necessarily, and first of all, I don't even know if he's going to play, but even if he does, it's not like 100% matched up with T-Mac. So
I did this last year. I always track like how defense is performing against opposing wide receiver ones. And the Patriots last year, as good as like, because Christian Gonzalez has all these amazing metrics last year, like yards per target allowed and like target and stuff, but like they were like in like a bottom 5, like consistently against like wide receiver ones because of the thing, like I said, like,
and it's a weak link system. It's a weak link system. So you have one strong corner and the rest of the secondary is brutal.
There are no more Darrelle Revises, like where a dude just like lines up and it's like, hey, we're gonna run the rest of our defense, but every single play, like you're on Randy Moss. Like that doesn't happen anymore. Like you just don't see that stuff anymore. That's not the way the defensive meta is played right now.
Yeah. So he'll be fine, I think, either way. It's more about the game script. You want the Patriots to live up to their end of the bargain here and put up points, because then the thing with the Panthers is that they don't like want to be who they are. A little bit of an identity crisis here.
They definitely don't want to be who they are.
They definitely don't want to be who they are. They're like they want to be who they were last week, which obviously, you're shutting a team out, you're winning 30-0, of course, but like they want to be able to run the ball and not have to lean on Bryce Young that much. But I think who they really like, who we want them to be, is who they were against the Cardinals, where they're just like, kind of just like, let's throw all the receivers out there. We're going to throw every time. And we're just going to let Bryce Young do his thing and have an 80% pass rate. That's how I actually think Bryce Young is at his best. And you have a secondary here where he can probably cook against them on high volume. But we need the Patriots to push them to that version. They're not going to come out, the scripted plays are not going to be, spreading the Patriots out and just attacking constantly through the air.
Yeah. And then it's just like, it feels like chasing the points, but everything lines up for Hunter Henry again. It is what it is.
No, I agree. Hunter Henry,
the 2 guys last week that popped, Hunter Henry and Trey Tucker, it's like you feel so bad because it feels like chasing points. You're like, damn it, everything objectively makes sense again.
It does. Yeah. We'll get to that game is pretty fun. And we'll have some ownership, but it's still pretty fun. The Henry stuff, yeah, he's 21% targets per out run, 1.72 yards per out run. His stuff is like pretty sustainable. His, the touchdowns are kind of like boosting him a bit, but his 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 like yardage profile is like, yeah, he's
And
getting
they just
targeted a
use
lot.
him consistently since Drake May's been there. Like he is the red zone dude. Like
Yeah.
he is. And the Patriots are just rotating these receivers now. This is 2 weeks in a row that the ghost of Mac Hollins has weaseled his way into this rotation.
Well, because the ghost of Stephon Diggs is at 50% route participation.
Yes.
That's what's going on. I mean,
Yeah.
and Diggs, dude, like he was 70% route participation, then dropped to 58, 55 the last 2 weeks. His ADOT has dropped from 8.1 to 6.8 to 4. He's been in the slot now a bunch. He's like he's Pop Douglas. They turned him into Pop Douglas. He's got a 45% slot rate, 68th percentile. Like and then Pop Douglas isn't playing. He's at 35 and 47% route participation the last 2 weeks. Mac Hollins is running about half the routes. The whole thing's like really gross. There's no receiver. I mean, Booty would be the guy that I don't know
Yeah,
like what
Drake
format,
May
but
the past 2 weeks is 33rd in air yards per pass attempt. Like they kind of really need Kyle Williams to get on the field.
they do, man. If
Because
Kyle
they did.
Williams was like at
Yeah.
65% route participation, I'd be touting him here because they're going to be able to pass deep. I think in this matchup, like with the pass rush as weak as it is, I think you can attack downfield. May's deep pass rate has been super low, but we know he's a willing deep thrower.
Yeah,
It's
Booty's
just
the only guy that can go downfield right now.
only guy other than maybe Kyle Williams, but he's not
But
playing. He's at
he
like
doesn't play.
17%. Yeah, he
Yeah.
doesn't play. So yeah, I'm not doing Booty in DFS,
No,
but
no. No, none of those guys play enough.
yeah, no one plays enough. He's playing. He's like in the 70s. He's like
Yeah.
he's the best we got. He's the best we got, but still not doing it.
The best we got.
All right, let's move on to the next game here. Saints at Bills. Implied team total. At one point, I was actually I was annoyed with the betting market because I had this great line in the walkthrough where the Bills were favored by more
Yeah.
points than the Saints were projected to score. I was like, this is unbelievable. And then it changed a little. It's like now like a half point off. So I kept it in. That is a much worse version of yeah. It's a shame. I should have lied. I should have just like pretended to find a slightly different line to keep it in there. But the Bills side, I mean, they're set up to score literally like 31.75 is the implied point total. It's bananas. It's kind of one of those things of like who scores before they pull starters is really like kind of how lopsided this looks. James Cook is kind of a smash here, I think. That's not going to surprise anybody. But they're another team that's really spread out in the passing game. Josh Palmer's route participation is really declines. So it really is Keon Coleman and Khalil Shakir as the two full-time guys, but both of them are like kind of more like in the 80 to 85% route participation range. They're not out there constantly. Dalton Kincaid has been drawing a lot of targets when on the field, but he has peaked at just 63% route participation. They're doing a lot of two tight end stuff, but it doesn't always involve Kincaid. So yeah, it's kind of like Cook and Allen really pop, but what else can we do here?
Yeah, I mean that's obviously when you have the 30-point total. And this is the story of the Bills always for DFS is it's typically just Josh Allen and James Cook. It's harder to find stacking partners because the guys don't play a lot. And we have to figure too, like this might be a spot like we saw this in week 2 when they just beat the hell out of the Jets. Like, Allen, they just call off the dogs. Like Joe Brady when he's up, he's a run first mentality guy, anyways.
He is, yeah.
So they do. I pulled it. This is the 12th time that Josh Allen's been a favorite of 14 or more points. The previous 11 times, he still has averaged 20 fantasy points per game, but he's been a top 6 scorer in just 2 of those 11 games. Because you need that pushback, right? He's been.
You want
fine.
the Rams from last year where they're down and then they come roaring back, or the Ravens this year.
Well, Josh Allen is always like the best big game quarterback because they will play the whole thing through Josh Allen. That's why he's always great in the big game spots. Like, you can confidently count on him to like maybe score 35, like sometimes even 40 fantasy points.
Yeah.
Because they build the whole plane out of Josh Allen when they have to. It's when they don't, you start to see them play like from a run first mentality. And like I said, your redraft stuff and your like that's fine. Like getting 20 fantasy points is really good. It's a good matchup. Obviously, the Saints don't get a pass rush. They're 29th in passing points allowed per attempt. It's just how much are you pushed for like that 30-point game and at his price point, especially because this is our first slate all season where all the big quarterbacks minus Jaden Daniels are available, but like Lamar and Jalen Hurts are on the slate too. We haven't had that yet this season. So for them, but yeah, it's really just those two guys. James Cooks, I know people like to take shots at us, like the fantasy analysts about the touchdown regression stuff, but the real story about James Cook, and the one thing I do kind of kick myself about is guy that got paid got larger workload.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I agree with
it's
you.
like, that's where I never even just kind of flippantly passed me. It's like, well, if this dude's going to get the bag, like, wouldn't they just use him more? He has 18, 22, and 22 touches to open the season. Last year, he cleared 15 touches in just three games. His snap share is up 15% from a year ago.
Yep.
He's been on the
Yep.
field for over 50% of the dropbacks in 2 or 3 games. He did that 4 times all of last year. From just an expected point stance, he's RB7. Last year, he was RB27. It was the marriage of the touchdowns plus his usage that kind of was throwing people off of like the regression. But it's like, oh, what if he's just on the field more and getting more touches? That's what's happened. And it's made him, that's what's been the elevator.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he got 70% of the team attempts last week, which is really good. He was only 42 and 49 through the first 2 weeks, so I think we got to still be smug a little bit in the first couple of games. It's like, yeah, but he's not really playing. And then they're like, oh, what do we give him? 67% snap share and 70% of the carries. How do you feel now? It's like, oh, I'm screwed. I think is how I feel. So yeah, he's if this is the usage this week, he's going to crush, and he could crush in 3 quarters. He could score
Like a
2 to
jet
3 touchdowns, and yeah, for real. Like that's how it's set up. So yeah, I don't think he's another one of these guys that's going to be pretty chalky, but maybe not like the mega chalk because you gotta
Gamers always
play
talk themselves
McCaffrey
out of
here.
this stuff. Gamers always talk themselves out of this. Like, Bills are going to win by a bunch, but like the Bills are still going to score 30 points. Like, someone has to score
Right.
touchdowns.
And you're right about Joe Brady. Like he wants to, build this through the run game of definitely more than Ken Dorsey did when he was calling plays here. So, yeah, Cook is just set up for. Cook has like such a high floor here, but also I think has a high ceiling.
Yeah, I think he's probably going to, when we get to Sunday and you guys check out your stuff, or Saturday night, whenever you guys build lineups and whatever you use, I think he probably is going to come in low because Hampton, he's in between. Like, obviously people are going to keep playing McCaffrey, like just by given just the amount of absurd
You
usage
have
he's
to,
getting in the
yeah.
receiving game. Yeah.
He
And
had 15
then
targets last week, right?
And then Hampton is like priced below Cook, and then you got
Right.
Scatabo as like a cheap point. We're gonna get to the late games right now. Like, Ashton Jainty's drawing like an immense amount of popularity. So I think there's a chance we could get to the weekend, and when you're building lineups and you're going through kind of where you use your information from, that Cook actually for this spot ends up being a little bit under-owned.
It does seem like one of those, in retrospect, when we had 2 different punt quarterback options that were highly viable. Like, we couldn't just play Cook and McCaffrey. We couldn't find ways to just play Cook with
Well, that's the
McCaffrey.
other way to play. We talked about the first game. The other way to play through it is, what if we just paid for these good running backs?
Right, right. I mean, they both, yeah. I definitely do not want to be underweight James Cook. I want to be overweight James Cook if he's not going to be big chalk here, which seems like maybe he won't be, to your point. So
JT's the wild card when we get, because like we'll have to have a conversation about that when we get there. Because like right now, the projected ownership I'm seeing for him like is blowing my mind.
I've seen. I mean, Davis Maddock was kind of touting him a bit. People, I think there's sort of camps forming of the like, get the fuck out of here. We're not playing Genty.
Well, I mean, I
Look,
think
man,
there's
he's
a
good.
pro
He's
case
gonna
to
break
make
out.
for him. There's a pro case
Yeah.
to make for JT when we, but like I don't want to play him when he's going to be 20, if he's going to be 20% owned and 25%.
Me neither.
Like, I would want to do it when it's like he's like 8%.
DFS is so weird now, where it's like
It is, dude.
struggling running back behind a terrible offensive line, and then you get to like, oh, I've got this matchup is kind of interesting. It's like, great, chalk. Like, really?
Well, I mean, because he isn't that he's cheaper, but there are so many receivers we're going to talk about through the context of the slate that I think are like, I think it's better to take on one of these cheap receivers than to necessarily like just take a pay down at running back this week.
Yeah, I agree. Saints side, the Kamara stuff has been kind of concerning. He's at Kamara has a 9% target share this year, which is not what we signed up for. He was back down. He was 5% week 1, 18% week 2. Okay, he'll be fine. 5% again last week. It's not that he's not playing. 74% snaps last week. For the season, he's at 79%, which is running back 6. That's just like really high. Like over the course of the year, that would be, probably like rivaling for running back 1. So, and he's 63% of the attempts, which is running back 9. 73% route participation, which is running back 5. So it's all fine. It's just they're not like consistently involving him as a receiver. They're involving Chris Olave very heavily, and Juwan Johnson is just consistently getting used. Johnson's probably my favorite guy here, where like his expected points per game are 16.2.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. He's running cold. Like his role is even better than he's been producing. He's been producing as a tight end 1, and they're gonna have to throw here. Like they have to throw. The Saints have been trying to like move away from being super pass heavy the last couple weeks. They had a -3% pass rate over expected last week, -8% in week 2, but they're not like extremely fighting game script. They're still ending up pretty comfortably over 60% pass rates. They were at 71% in week 1, and weirdly, and I mean, maybe not that weirdly, because Kellen Moore talked about this in the summer about how they wanted to play fast, but they're at 25 seconds in situation neutral script, 25 seconds per play. That's the fastest pace of any team in the league by like about 3 seconds. They're like much quicker than the average team. So you could have them like playing fast and forced to throw. And so you're just like, where's volume going to condense here? The answer might be Juwan Johnson, obviously Chris Olave, and Kamara has the potential to kind of be involved in that again. But yeah, Johnson jumps out as the piece that I think is most interesting in this game, especially from a DFS perspective. Not in
Yeah,
this game, in this on this team.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's run over 30 pass routes in every game. Like, he leads the position in pass routes run. And it's not just he's running a lot of pass routes, like, his targets per route run have been over 24% every game, like, right at 24% every game. So, like, you're getting the marriage of, like, high volume also paired with, like, high volume in terms of opportunity. In terms of just dropbacks. We would love some big plays in this offense. I don't know if we'll get them. They're number 1. They've run the most plays in the NFL, and they only have 4 plays of 20 or more yards. It's really rough. Like, it's just they're literally living on, like, these guys are living on the volume. Like, what is a lot? Like, Olave has double-digit targets in every game and hasn't hit 60 yards yet. Like, I think we called him Jacoby Myers last week, and I apologize.
We did,
to Chris Olave, but yeah, that's
I don't think we owe him
is.
an apology.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's just a good comp.
And you've been on the
1.5
Kamara
yards
stuff.
per route run, and then we'll apologize.
You've been on it the whole time with Kamara, because it's the first read stuff's not there for him. He had some checkdowns in week 2, but he's getting no first read opportunities. Like, nothing's designed for him. So if he does catch passes, it's going to be a situation where it's like these dump offs where you're coming off of your first read.
Yeah, I will say Olave stuff. I mean, he is running back, or sorry, he is wide receiver 1 in expected points per game, and then he has -8.1 fantasy points over expected per game. 8.1 points that he's leaving on the field per game. So he's going to be somewhat popular this week, and I totally get it. I think he's a totally fine play. I kind of like Johnson better just because he's going to be because he's cheaper, and I'm just like,
and he
betting
plays
on
tight
like
end.
He plays tight end. He's cheaper, right? And like less people probably gonna be on him. And my play is like bad team racks up meaningless volume. So I'd like to spend as little as possible on that. But Olave, I do think is a totally fine play here too.
Yeah.
All right, moving to the Browns at Lions. Why don't you kick this one off? And what jumps out to you here?
Yeah, this is very intriguing for me, especially the way to play through the slate too. I mean, we still have the Lions at home with a team total just under 27 points. I have no faith that the Lions are going to line up and run the football down the Cleveland Browns' throat in the capacity they did on Monday night with Matabuke and Kyle Vanoy off the field. The Browns are a team within context. Obviously they're allowing negative yards before contact on running back runs. And yeah, they had the Chase Brown in week 1. We've seen like they haven't been able to run the ball, but like Derrick Henry week 2, Josh Jacobs week 3. It's just like they haven't gotten cheapies either. And like they've been absolutely dominant. So if they're going to be a little bit of more of a pass funnel this year, and if they're going to continue to play aggressive defense, and we believe this Lions implied team total is right, where do we get points from the Lions? And it's got to come through this pass game. And that's where things get really interesting here, because the Browns defense is getting so much respect, and they almost are getting like a cachet involved with them. Like you avoid them, but we were just 2 weeks removed from them giving up 41 points on the road in Baltimore and 4 passing touchdowns in that game. And then people look at the Lions and they're like, well, the Lions only played like one awesome defense. And like they were really bad. But the differences between Green Bay and Cleveland couldn't be more different structurally the way they play. The Packers in that first game played just a ton of zone coverage. They want to take Jared Goff's first read away, make him check down. They didn't blitz him at all. His time to throw in week 1 was 2.95 seconds from the snap to throw. It was he's only had 2 games longer than that since joining the Lions. His first read throw rate in week 1 is 53.8%, compared to 68% in week 2 and then 75% last week. Browns, number 1 in rate of man coverage, 2nd in pressure rate, 6th in pressure rate. They also blitz at the 12th highest rate. They want you to force quick processing in first read stuff, which could kind of be a trap here in this game. Goff so far under pressure this season's 3rd in completion rate. He's 5th in yards per pass. This goes back to last year too. He was really awesome and flipped the script on his career under pressure. Against man coverage, he's completed 20 of 24 passes for just under 9 yards per pass attempt. So I mean, if everything lines up here and the Lions are going to be throwing the football to score these points and not being to have as much success running the football, I kind of really like this, like a Jared Goff, Amon-Ra, Jameson Williams way to play this. These guys are right now, like no one's into these guys at all this weekend.
Those are really interesting notes, because yeah, the first read stuff like really jumped out week 1, where Goff he had an awesome completion percentage and wasn't attempting first read throws. And then you saw that Jahmyr Gibbs was like benefiting hugely there. He was just getting tons and tons of checkdowns. And so that setup really worked out for Gibbs. This setup, one of the things that I dove into was that Jameson Williams has been much, much better on throws of 2+5 seconds. On those throws, he has a 17% targets per out run, which matches Amon-Ra St. Brown. Brown has a 14.6 ADOT, so he's been getting downfield, but Jameson Williams has a 20.6 ADOT on those throws. He's got the speed to actually get behind the defense if you give him time. He has 2.61 yards per route run on throws of 2+5 seconds. So those have been really what's driving his value this year. Amon-Ra has also been awesome on those throws, but Amon-Ra is great on quick throws as well. And so Williams, the thing that makes me nervous here, he has a 9% first read target rate. So if this is going to be about like, let's get the ball out quickly and to the first read, that's an Amon-Ra game.
Yep. And he's got massive splits to open the year against, man coverage, and then the blitz. He's got a 36% target share against the blitz right now. And again, it's a 3-game sample, and and also one of these grain of salts too. I do want to say, because when you hear me talk about like the coverage stuff, one of these splits is a Bears game. Like you have to remember, like, beating the Bears and beating the Browns is different. Like I don't expect even being kind of say like this to me, the way this is like to me like a single entry, like you play Goff with Amon-Ra, and if it doesn't hit, no big deal. Like it's right. This would be a 1 o'clocker where these guys are going to be probably sub 5% owned, and could it be a game where like Amon-Ra gets like 12 targets, even no matter what the score is, because they're not able to run the football to the capacity they have in the past 2 weeks. That would be like the way to play it. And then if he doesn't, you just close your laptop on that one. You're just like, well, all right, big deal. But I'm definitely intrigued because the point total, it's like, how do the Lions get to these points? And that's the avenue I see it, is like through kind of Goff, Amon-Ra. And then Williams, it would just be more about like just cashing in a chunk one. Because I agree with you.
Totally.
I would absolutely agree with you. The targets just probably aren't going to be there. It would just be, can we get one?
I agree. Yeah. And he definitely has the talent to do that. But this to me could be like a huge Amon-Ra target share game.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like constantly racking up targets. Because I mean, he can
Where
do it
he
all.
is the
Like,
run game. Like he is the run
he is
game.
the run game. Yeah. Yeah. 100%. So I like that call a lot. I've been kind of a little bit bearish on the Lions in this spot because of the pressure. And I think they're
From
blocking.
redraft,
Their
I think
offensive
it's
line is
okay to knock
okay.
them. Like I wouldn't pursue
Yeah.
this like from a redraft stance. Like would I choose to play Goff over like someone I really liked? I don't think I would, right?
Hmm.
But I'm just thinking like small field, like this would be the outcome to like kind of attack it.
I like it. I like it. Uh, Brown's side, they took Harold Fannin from us. He's at 50% route participation, which is a bummer. I'm seeing like David Njoku, kind of pop up as someone people are interested in, to the point that I'm wondering if he actually becomes a bit steamy as we head into Sunday.
On DraftKings, he will be.
I'm warning people against that. This dude, like, his whole deal is like scammy underneath targets, and he's paired with a tight end who does that better. Like, I'm not going to play Fannin this week, but like the fact that he's running a bunch of routes and not getting targeted, like, yeah, because the guy does his thing now and comes on the field and takes away those targets. So I don't know. I mean, 80% route participation for Njoku, that's cool, but he still has a lower target share than Fannin on the season. So is like a low on pivot. All right. But if he's chalk, like, no way. No
Oh
way.
yeah, absolutely not.
Quinshon Judkins, more redraft here, but has looked really
Yeah.
good. 43% success rate in the next gen stuff. Look, that's nice. And then rush yards over expected. He's running back 2, and rush yards over expected per game. Running back 4, and rush yards over expected per attempt. Running back 6 and breakaway yards per game. Looking pretty strong. They'll lean on him as much as they can get away with, which might not be that much because the Lions probably put up points against them. But if this game ends up being a little bit closer, we're going to see plenty of Judkins here.
Yeah, especially in context, the Judkins stuff, obviously only being with the team for 2 weeks, then against the Green Bay defense that had, erased this Lions run game in week 1. And then, week 2 shut down the Commanders run game. So then Jack Conklin didn't play in this game on Sunday. DeJuan Jones left after 4 snaps. So like in
Yeah.
context of everything, you're like, this is pretty impressive. Like this is pretty impressive. He's averaging 4.8 yards per carry on runs where he's been hit at or behind the line of scrimmage. The running back average is 1.4 yards per carry. Again, small sample or early season stuff. But he has a 39% success rate on those runs getting hit at or behind the line. The running back average is 18%. Again, these are the things that stand out to people. Like your coach is like, hey, they watch the film and they're like, dude, you should have lost 2
Yeah.
yards on this play. You got us 3. Like, like
They
those
love
are,
that.
like,
They
yeah,
love that.
man. The only thing
Like,
right now, short term, is just
it's the
getting
opposite of
him.
Kenneth Walker, where you see a linebacker, you spin backwards 3 yards,
Turn
and get
around.
tackled by
Turn
someone else.
around.
You turn around. Yeah,
We just
they
turn
don't
around,
like
man.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing you're talking about, the only thing with Judkins is you're looking for the receiving stuff to kind of uptick. And maybe it will, maybe it won't, but like that's all we're like looking for to complete this circle here.
The good news is that Dylan Sampson had an 8% snap share last week, so he's not a threat. He can take it from Jerome Ford, which I like that. I think that it's easier competition from a talent perspective for Judkins to add. But yeah, even last week, just 37% route participation. So he is kind of more of a 2-down guy,
Right
which
now, at
makes him more
least, yeah.
fragile. Yeah.
Yeah, 2-down guy in a bad offense, but hey,
2-down.
if he might be the offense.
It's like not really the week to play 2-down guy in a bad offense in DFS,
No,
but
no.
I'm happy to have him in redraft stuff.
I think everyone, considering what the outcome that looked like to be the most probable a month ago, like you got to be riding high. Like you got to feel it as good as
Oh
you
yeah,
can.
yeah. And I have a lot of him in best ball, because in best ball, he's going after the charges were dropped. He eventually fell back to like the 160s, and I like it's like, what do you win when you win? Like a really good running back for free? Like, what do you
Yeah.
mean? So, yeah, I've got a bunch. I'm feeling very, very good about that. But yeah, I think weekly stuff, it's a little thin,
Mhm.
especially given the opportunity cost.
And if you're in season long stuff, I don't know if it'll be sticky, but We saw Cedric Tillman get kind of cut into by Isaiah Bond last week. Something just
Hmm.
to kind of keep an eye on. Just, because I know the deeper leagues that were rolling Tillman out, and he scored a touchdown the first 2 weeks, but just something. I don't know how sticky he'll be. It's again 1 week. We're early in the season. These things could oscillate, but Isaiah Bond did play more, and it was at the expense of Tillman last week. He actually
That's
played in
interesting.
more 1-2 wide receiver stuff too, which was kind of what you wouldn't expect, right? He ran more routes in 1-2 wide receiver sets than Tillman last week.
Yeah, Tillman was down 96, 94, and then 76% route participation last week.
And I don't know, maybe there was something like that just wasn't reported, banged up or something. Just something to keep an eye on. It's just a note I made.
No, it's a great
Just keep an eye on,
call.
yeah.
Bond was up to 58 after 39 the week before.
It has no bearings on like
I'm
anything anyone's doing in this game, but I just know like Tillman is a guy that had been hanging on to like that like flexus wide receiver 5 type
yeah,
vibes with people. So like just
yeah.
keep an eye on that.
That's a good note. All right, let's go to the Eagles at Bucks. Wirfs might be back. This is one I did like a whole deep dive into what their starting line was supposed to be, and then what it was last week. And they didn't have a single offensive lineman
Mhm.
playing where they were originally designated to start in before the season, because it's not that everyone was out, although they were missing 3 starters, but then they
They had
took
to
Graham
rotate,
Barton
yeah.
and had him at tackle, and then they had their guard at center. So everybody's literally 0 of 5. Um, I, Wirfs got in a full practice yesterday, so he's probably back. That might mean they have Barton back at center, but their Charlie Heck, their backup tackle, like absolutely stinks. So they might want to keep him off the field. So it's still going to be kind of shuffled up, I think, in terms of like where guys are playing, and at a minimum they'll still be with 2 reserves playing, because they lost Cody Mock and Luka Decky, but it's better than it was, I guess. But the problem I think here, I was listening um, to a podcast breaking down Heck a little bit, and talking about how the Jets just kind of like missed an opportunity against him with their bad pass rush. The Eagles pass rush is pretty good,
Mhm.
and the concern with the Bucks offensive line, even with Wirfs back, it's been like, they such big injury issues that they might get exposed here. Like they probably were like, against a better matchup last week, I think the talk would be like, oh my God, this offensive line. And now with Mike Evans out, and that's still being a pretty big concern against, the Eagles defense. I'm a little bit nervous about the Bucks here. Obviously you can count on Ibuka to consolidate targets, and he's been awesome. And Bucky's a really, really good player, and he can produce as well here. But um, I'm I don't love this game environment for the Bucks, especially.
No, they definitely tried to adjust around the offensive line too. Baker had his quickest time to throw in a game last week. They actually ran their highest rate of screens too, so they were aware of like you're trying to work around this. The only pro you have if like kind of stacking this game or trying to play around, if you're trying to go back to the Eagle stuff that we got to see in the second half finally, is that it's just going to be consolidated due to the amount of injuries with Mike Evans now being out. Is you're going to get
Yeah.
touches for Bucky Irving, and you're going to have opportunities for Ibuka, even if Godwin comes back. I've seen some people try to flow out the KDOT and stuff, and I would just like to remind people it's not a 1-for-1 with what happened last year, and it's against Zach Bond and the Eagles. I would be a little bit hesitant
New
to
new
say like,
OC. Yeah.
yeah, new OC,
I
everything. I
threw it
agree
out
with
there as like
yeah,
he's a tight end too this week. I'm not
right,
going to he's not a dude in DFS. I'm excited to play it all.
yeah,
Abuka's 6,800 on DraftKings as well. So I'm not really that into that. Like, it's
because he's
not a
been
league
getting
where I want
played
to pay
every
up
week
for him.
too. Part of the
Yeah.
algorithm is how much your ownership is the week before, and he's been getting played every
Yeah.
game, so it hasn't helped his cause. But it's just going to be consolidated. That's like the big bull case you have is like, hey, these are the guys this week. This is what they're bringing to the party.
Right. But Irving 6,900 probably gets a little bit of ownership. Buka's 68. So
Mm-hmm.
it's tough in DFS. I mean, but at the same time, like Buck Earring's an RB1 in redraft. Ibuka's like a high end RB or high end wide receiver 2 type of guy. Um, so nothing crazy. I don't have any crazy hot takes here, but it's just
No,
not
yeah.
it's not a game environment I'm that excited about. Um, and then on the flip side, I mean,
If you believe that,
uh,
that's what's fun. If you believe that, so what Eagles are we getting this now?
Barkley, I guess. Like, I don't know how are you playing the Eagles side?
I mean, I just thought it was pretty telling that the two star players in this team like absolutely did not hold back against Kevin Patullo after that game. Like, the commentary from Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown emphasizing like this is the way they have to play. They have to stop playing not to lose games. I mean, I thought that was pretty. That's something that probably did not go overlooked inside the building. I would assume. You would hope it didn't either, because you can't do what they did in the first half last week and expect to win a lot of games that way. You can't be down 26-7 against good teams and then just like be like, all right, now we have to throw. Like, that just can't be the approach of winning NFL football games. That's just, you can't consistently do that. They had 2 third and longs in the first half of that game where they were just like, we'll just punt. Like, they just hand it off on like a 3rd and 16. So like, we'll just hand off and punt. And like, again, they're just trying to play not to lose. So I'm very curious to see, to start this game, what we get. The other component we have though too is Todd Bowles as low-key kind of owned Jalen Hurts. Like, it's the only team, because Jalen Hurts, like, even back to college, like, he's like the big QB wins guy. Like, he just wins games. 1-4 against Todd Bowles. He has completed 59% of his passes in five career games, 6.2 yards per pass attempt. Todd Bowles has blitzed his face off in all of these games.
And he's blitzing a lot this year. They're 6th in blitz rate. He always blitzes, but
he's blitzed Hurts personally 42% of his dropbacks in these matchups. And against the blitz in those games, Hurts has a 72 rating, 58.7% completion rate, 6.3 yards per pass attempt. I do want to throw one caveat out there. Is the last time these teams played was when the Eagles were just decimated. He didn't have AJ Brown or Devontae Smith. So, that was one of the games in the sample. So keep that in mind. But pretty interesting layers of elements here, because if the Bucs aren't able to put up as good as a fight as they typically would with the full team, and we think the game script could be more Eagles in control, are the Eagles going to go back into a shell again?
Yeah, I like DC wins. We need to bring DC wins back in the conversation. QB wins is that's over. Give me DC wins. I don't know what the Eagles are like. It'll be curious. I'll be curious to see who their OC is next year, and then what team he becomes the head coach of in 2027. Because that seems to be the pattern. You bring in one guy, he gets hired away. You have some dude that we completely forget about. Then you bring in a good offensive coordinator, then he gets hired away. So we're in the down year. The fallow. They're leaving the field fallow.
Yeah, I feel bad for guys like Kevin Patullo and even Nick Caley to a extent, not to the extent because like they're not doing a great job. But it's like, we didn't know who these guys were until like they've done a bad job, and now everyone knows that they're just bad. Like,
I don't feel that bad, because who was the OC in 2023 for the Eagles?
Brian Johnson.
See, I don't even, that's not in my brain anymore.
Yeah.
I've moved on. So, I think Kevin Patullo is not a name. If you ask me who Kevin Patullo is in 2028, I don't think I'm gonna be able to tell you. That's where we're headed. But I mean, Barkley, like, okay, so Barkley's going against a tough run defense here, but like, he's also Barkley. Is he Barkley? Because
that's the other side of the coin, right? Is for them to keep remaining what they did in the second half, I think is important for Barkley, is it not? Like, because they haven't run the ball well. Or what's a way to kind of open that up? Start throwing the ball.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, that's, if you think this could be like a tough spot for the Bucs, which I do, because you talk about Baker's time to throw and that coming down a little bit, but he's been out there like making plays, and I mean, Baker's been awesome. Like, he's scrambling
so fun
around.
To watch, dude. It's like
he's so fun.
Like, who are the people that don't like Baker Mayfield? I want to find those.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it feels like it's kind of happening. There's not like a lot of margin for error here, where in a tougher matchup without Mike Evans, and I mean, Mike Evans has been carrying a ton of weight for this team. Like, he has 27% targets per out run, 29% target share. Like, it is not good to pull out Mike Evans from this offense. 12.6 ADOT. He has a 92nd percentile double coverage rate. Drawing targets despite a ton of double coverage, even though he hasn't been like super efficient this year. Like, he's been massively important for the offense. So it will hurt. It will hurt not to have him. So yeah, not my favorite game, which means it'll probably be the one to go off, which is happened a couple times this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, Titans at Texans.
Holy shit.
Yeah, man. You know what? I'm gonna start with the Texans on this. I'm like mildly intrigued by now. This is like I this is not a bit. Like I honestly might do like one like $5 milli lineup with a Texans double stack with a Stroud, Nico, and
Kirk?
Christian Kirk. Yeah, because Titans suck against the run. Dead last in EPA, 31st in DVOA, 26th in success rate. Obviously, the Texans can't run the ball with any kind of explosiveness, but Nick Chubb has been like decent. He's the Kareem Hunt. He's doing the Kareem Hunt. 44% success rate, RB17. He's actually running back 15 in rush yards expected per game. Although if you pull out the touchdown that they let him score, maybe that drops. But you're not expected to do anything, but they let you score, so that goes into the metric. But the Texans, I'm very unimpressed with Nick Caley so far. Has been running a lot on first down, especially in their first couple games. I think that's kind of what they want to do, but it's like, hey man, like your personnel's not really matching up with your philosophy. What are you going to do here? And so far, it seems like he's sticking with the philosophy, which I never like to see. But the matchup's so easy. They should be able to front run here. They're like touchdown favorites this
Yeah, I mean, they're
week.
touchdown favorites, yeah.
Yeah. So this is like a little
Burn
bit of
them
a
in your
different.
survivor. This would be the week to use the Texans in your
Totally.
survivor.
Oh my god. Yeah. And what could go wrong? They
What could
definitely
go
won't love
wrong?
this. Yeah. But I mean, there's some of these teams, right, where you're like, hey, there's a spot where this like team that's like never doing anything is like in the perfect environment where they actually get to be like they blossom
Yeah.
into the team like they think they are, even though they're definitely like way too bad to be playing that way. This kind of has that vibe to me where Titans are bad against the pass and the run. They're allowing explosive plays. They don't really have that much of a pass rush. So yeah, I mean, Nico Collins still looks awesome.
Mhm.
They're playing Xavier Hutchinson over the rookie receivers, which is good for
Yeah.
anyone who's not Xavier Hutchinson or the rookie receivers, because it could help consolidate stuff. And then Christian Kirk comes back last week. He's at 77% route participation. He has 24% targets per out run, 23% target share, 18% first read target rate. Like he is involved. Like he is supposed to be a big part of the offense. His yards per target comes in at 3.1, which is obviously horrendous, and that kills his yards per route run. But in expected points last week, he was at 13.4. He scores just 5.5. But like there was a role here. There was
Mhm.
production potential. And so I think, Nico Collins, who's also a bit of a positive regression candidate, and Christian Kirk, they're the clear double stack way to play this. And, maybe I wouldn't even call this a get right spot. It's like sort of like a fake optimism spot. Like, let's,
Right.
like, oh, the Texans are back. Like they're not, but they might have this one cool
Nope, they're
week.
not.
So yeah, I mean, I brought this up on our DFS pod with Squirrel Patrol, and he mentioned like the total sucks, but they have an applied team total of 22.75, which it really isn't that bad.
Nope.
So how do the Texans score points here? How do they live up to that total? And it's probably, I mean, it would be hilarious if Nick Chubb just went off and Stroud did nothing, but it would make sense for them to kind of be able to get the passing game going a little bit here, as part of a somewhat balanced attack, but the passing game being what's driving the success. So I will tout the Texans a little bit as like a really large field
Mhm.
under the radar play.
I don't mind that at all, as a shout. I mean, Titans 25th in pressure rate. They're not even trying to get to blitz around that. They're 25th in blitz rate. And when they haven't pressured the opposing quarterback so far, they've allowed a 78% completion rate. That's 28th in the NFL. 7.8 yards per pass. That's 23rd. A 5.6% touchdown rate, which is 20th. And then the Kirk stuff does align too, where the Titans have had a lot of opening season issues. They're 30th in yards per target to slot receivers. They're 26th in receptions allowed to slot receivers. So there's definitely the path to get here around that. As like definitely no one's playing that double stack. So
No,
Nico will get
no.
mixed in a little bit, but that you ain't gonna see a lot of CJ Stroud or Christian Kirk out there.
You're not. You're not going to see it. But Kirk's pretty cheap actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
But the role was there, like you said. And that's what we expected too. The one thing we haven't expected is just like these rookies to be, or especially Higgins to be slow played as long as he has.
Kirk is like a legit. I think Kirk might be like a flag plant play for me this week in DFS. I'm just doing it.
I dig it.
4,400. Um, he's not going to be owned. Like you're talking sub five
Oh
percent
no,
ownership, and
maybe lower than that.
wait, what's lower than sub
I don't
5?
know.
None.
Subterranean.
It's
Subterranean.
negative. Yeah, it's uh, it's rough. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, I
No, I
I
can see
can't
it. The
I can't
stench of the
believe it, but
Texans for sure is
but
going to
this is
drive
the
that
Bill
all down.
Simmons loser goes home. This is like these two teams like and if I'm betting on like teams in disarray, I think the Titans have they're pretty big favorites for like more disarray.
Oh yeah, well they don't have the defense.
They don't have a defense, and their head coach is going to get fired soon. I think it's been a
Yeah,
disaster.
it's pretty bad.
Texans or Titans side of this. So I like listening to Alec Connolly break down the film stuff. He came away from his film study on Ward like glowing. He's like, man, this dude, what he was impressed with was once he gets off his first read, he like works through his second and third progression like super quickly. He's almost like a combo read. Like he gets that ball out so quick once he comes off the first read. What's interesting is I broke down that like, hey, he's really not coming off that first read. Like he has 16% of his dropbacks, which is by far the highest in the league. He has either a sack, an interception, a batted pass, or a throwaway where he didn't come off the first read. So like basically, there's a bad outcome, and he never checked for anything else. This was the Sam Howell issue, where it's just like he just hangs, looking. Oh, it's going to come open. It never comes open. Takes the sack, or he just chucks it up. He's like, well, it hasn't come open, but let's give my guy a chance, and he'll kind of chuck it up, and it's intercepted. Like that kind of play. And Cam Ward, part of the like, I don't even know if it's a criticism necessarily, but he kind of plays like in this like calm, relaxed way, and it's like the timing might need to speed up here a little bit, which probably will happen, over the course of his rookie season. We're only 3 games in, but it's not great to be going up against the Texans pass rush if your issue is that your clock is slow. And I do think that's his issue, at least right now. So I could see this being a pretty rough outing for Cam Ward, who, an EPA per game is better than only Joe Flacco and JJ McCarthy, kind of an unsustainably bad level. And he has the worst success rate of all quarterbacks this season. So the Texans passing stuff that I gleefully touted before, like one of the ways that fails is that like they just don't need to pass that much. The Titans can't push back at all.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah, that's the as bad as it's gone for Houston, the defense has still been doing their part. So that's you're not going to get pushed here. I think if you just do this, you just play through Texans and you don't really worry about much on the Tennessee side unless you're just like doing the volume-based flex stuff for Tony Pollard, which is kind
Totally.
of, that's really it. It's really all they have to offer. The Calvin Ridley stuff hasn't really happened.
Nope.
Ayomanor is kind of cutting into some stuff. He's getting a lot of like the man coverage stuff. So like if they see anything, like he's getting some first read stuff there. Derek Stingley could miss this game, but doesn't matter. Like
Right.
it's just you're not excited
It's the
about any
pass
other
rush.
pieces. Yeah, it's the rookie quarterback on the road against this pass rush. It's just hard to objectively have a lot of good signal here for anything.
Yeah, I mean, Imanor has a 17% first read target rate, which is higher than Ridley.
Yeah.
Who's at 16%.
Well,
So
you think of it
Ridley's
as a quarterback like Ward is. Like Ward is a little bit of a gunslinger, and he'll give his guy some chances. And Iomanor is that type of receiver.
totally.
Like he can give him, hey, I'll jam it into this dude, this big guy.
Yeah.
Like I'll see what happens. Give him a chance to win, and that's kind of what's happened.
Yeah. So long term, Ward's probably a lot better than the numbers suggest so far. But like this is, if you're looking to buy low, like wait until after the week. I think is kind of my read on that. Commanders at Falcons. I wrote this up with uncertainty around the quarterback, but we now know it'll be Mariota.
Yep.
We're going to be without Terry McLaurin here as well. Thoughts on the Washington side here?
Yeah, I'm not as bullish as I was last week when we knew Mario was gonna be starting against the Raiders. So we'll see how popular he ends up being. Because I don't love this game environment as much as I liked it last week. Uh, so no, you remove Terry McLaurin from the equation. The reason I liked Mariota last week is I thought they'd be able to run the ball effectively and take some shot plays against the Raiders defense that we will go into further lengths again that gives up shot plays. And we should have gotten one Terry McLaurin. I don't know how they overruled that play he got hurt on. He wasn't down. I'll take it to the grave. But the Falcons don't give up a lot of big plays. You're removing the big play aspect of this offense. Like, I mean, Debo is going to get a lot of work here. A lot of the Debo underneath stuff. He's probably going to even have some rushing work. Like we saw a little bit more of that last week. He'll probably get some more this week if Ja'Cory Cross-Commanders as banged up as practice let on this week. It sounds like he's going to be able to
Two
go.
DNPs. Yeah.
Yeah, he did practice today. So it
Did
sounds
he?
like,
Okay.
yeah, I did. Yeah, I made sure to check on that one. So it sounds like Debo can get some work, but like Debo's not going to be out there with Terry McLaurin out, like running post routes and like, like it's just not what we're going to see. So we're going to get like Chris Moore is probably actually going to be the guy that plays directly for Terry McLaurin. And because I know Luke McCaffrey had the touchdown last week, but they had already pulled everyone at that point. Like, so I think Chris
Yep.
Moore will be actually the guy that plays Terry
Me
McLaurin's
too.
position in the offense because Noah Brown's still out too, by the way. So I'm just not as excited about like this top down as I was last week. The Falcons, I believe, unless they play as badly as they did, but the Falcons have outgained their opponent every single game this year. I think they want to run the football. They're at home. The matchup is a little bit better for them, I think, with Terry McLaurin being out. So it's like I know they want to have AJ Terrell, but like AJ Terrell without Terry McLaurin, like kind of is a net. It's like a neutral kind of swap here because he was never gonna like shadow Debo Samuel or like do anything.
Right.
So
Right.
it's
Right.
like, yeah, that's like not the way Debo plays. So I'm a little bit less like intrigued by like the opportunity this game has to like explode. Maybe it will, but just not as excited in general.
Yeah, I like the spot for Debo. Um,
Yeah, it's the one
he,
guy.
he's definitely interesting. Where are you at on Mariota versus Dart as far as DFS goes?
This week, I mean, if I'm punting, I'm gonna play Dart more. I don't know how much that ownership is gonna look like. I have my quarterback pulled down to 5 right now. I have it down to Lamar, Caleb, Gino. We're gonna get to those two guys. Goff, who I mentioned for the reasons for small field stuff, and then Dart for the punt stuff. And then I'm gonna see where that kind of spreads out. So I kind of have Mariota out this week.
So you're out on May.
He's just not gonna make it. So I am historically usually only a 4 quarterback player.
Hmm,
And then Dart being a punt is like the reason I think he can make
I
some of the
see.
cut. But I have to see what that gets me. Dart might not make the cut if the salary, like getting the salary doesn't even matter. Like
Hmm.
it just does Dart allow me to do something like we talked about? Can I play McCaffrey with James Cook in a Dart lineup? Is like that, does that get me
I'm
like,
pretty interested in doing that.
do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like if that's
Yeah.
the avenue it opens up, then yes, Dart's gonna make the pool. But like if I can do that without like doing stuff with Dart, then he'll probably end up getting axed.
Okay.
But I'm historically a very low QB player in my player pool. I usually cap it at 4. Sometimes we'll go as low as 3 even. So that's the only reason. But yeah, so I think Mario's not gonna make it this week for me. So hopefully I'll get shadow realmed.
What about any interest in Ertz, who's another guy who kind of step up a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I
Uh,
don't have any problem with it because it's all going to have to go to these guys. The other
yeah,
ancillary guys are kind of jabronis, man. Like
yeah.
it's you know,
And the pass rush for the Falcons actually have a good pass rush
Mhm.
this year, which was a huge problem for them last year, and they seem to have fixed. I mean, they addressed it. They brought in guys, and it seems to be.
Teams against
Uh,
them aren't running any plays.
hmm, that's an intriguing note. Do I have their pace against in here? I don't think I do.
They're fifth fewest in like opponent plays, but because inherently like they want to protect Michael Penix. Like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
so
Which, hey,
if they're
do a
able to
better job.
run, yeah, or if like
You're already talking about Kirk Cousins.
if the Commanders aren't able to just pull away or like Bijan's just like it's staying positive, like we're probably gonna see like I feel like a restrictor plate on like this game being awesome.
That makes sense. Um, do you have anyone that interests you on the Falcons side?
I tried to. I thought I was going to talk myself into Drake London. I ended up not getting there. Mooney is like interesting target share since he's been back, and the Commanders they're banged up on the back end, so like that would be the avenue, right, for like this game being fun. Will Harris went on IR. He broke his fibula last week. Trey Amos had a calf injury, and Percy Butler had a hip injury. So like they're down 3 starters in the secondary. That would be like the avenue, right?
And isn't Butler replacing Harris? So it's
Yeah,
like they're down to their
yeah.
third.
Yeah.
I
They
think
brought
free
in Darnell
safety.
Savage. They signed
Okay.
Darnell Savage this week,
Okay.
who off the street. So it looks like he's gonna have to play like right away.
Yeah, that's not great. So
So that would be the one avenue if like you believe Penix can like bounce back and like maybe we see some Mooney, Drake London stuff. He hasn't thrown a touchdown to a receiver yet. Would this be the week?
both guys are really popping. If you look at expected points and fantasy points over expected, Darnell Mooney's 5th percentile in fantasy points over expected. He's basically scoring about half the points you'd expect for his targets. And then Drake London is in the 9th percentile. He's about 4 points below expectation. So they both are positive regression candidates. It's not really something that I have gotten a ton of it, but maybe that's one I need to look into more because you have the injuries on the Commander's side, and they're pretty incentivized to have Penix look a little bit better. So if he's having a better game, maybe they lean into that a little bit. Bijan Robinson, obviously, just he's a great play every single week. Not someone I'm gonna probably have this week in DFS. It doesn't even seem like he's gonna get like lost in the shuffle exactly. Seeing like 10 to 15% ownership, so that doesn't really jump out to me. But yeah, Drake London might actually be kind of chalky. It looks like
on
which would
DraftKings,
make him a little harder to play.
DraftKings, his price is definitely more favorable for like this target
5,700.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because that's where he's more geared up to where you want to play him on DraftKings versus FanDuel, anyways.
yeah. But yeah, Darnell Mooney, 4,700. I think
Mm-hmm.
I think he's interesting for sure.
He's gonna be. I mean, because he's gonna be out there. He had the bad drops, but what was the Penix quote after the game? He was like, I need to throw to the guys that are open." And I was like, "Well, that's novel." Like, well, thank you. Yeah.
You just thought of that?
Yeah. Have you been throwing to the guys not open?
Well, that explains a lot, Michael. All right, let's go to the Colts at Rams. Daniel Jones, man, he's breaking my charts. I literally I have these EPA charts. I'll share this. And I like put new lines on them because I'm like, this is actually like, this is not sustainable. So just show people how not sustainable this is. I have a green line here.
You just made it. Yeah, it's like a bucket.
Yeah, this green, these intersecting green lines is like where this chart like will eventually end. Like this is the board, the future borders of this chart are about where Jared Goff is. This success rate is like bananas because this success rate is where Aaron Rodgers was in 2020. One of his very strong seasons, super high. It's like kind of like peak Drew Brees level success rate. And then this line here represents where Patrick Mahomes was in 2018. So Daniel Jones is like 2018 Mahomes efficiency with like the best consistency ever. So not gonna sustain, but like still super impressive that we're here. The one of the ways that I noted the Colts are getting here is that they've been able to just constantly throughout the entire game threaten with both the pass and the run because they're playing from ahead, and Jonathan Taylor's awesome. And they've got Tyler Warren, who's this new dual threat guy who's really good. He's tight end 5 and run block rate. He's been everything they were hoping. And so it's all working really well. But they're on the road here. They are actually dogs in this game. They're favored by just over, or underdogs by just over a field goal, and they're facing a really strong pass rush. So I think the Rams, like the way to beat the Colts right now is like make them one dimensional. And I think the Rams might be able to do it. I mean, they're favored. So it'll be a real test for the Colts here in a couple of ways. I think it's sort of a test of like how much they believe in Jones, or like how like no. Like the way this works is like we establish Jonathan Taylor. So they could maybe be like a little bit stubborn here, a little bit like run heavy, even in a high expected pass rate situation, or do they let Daniel Jones go out there and cook with a higher pass rate than they've had all season? I mean, they only peaked at a 57% pass rate. They've really not thrown a ton. So, he's gotten there on efficiency, but does his volume spike here, which would make him still pretty interesting. So it's going to be a pretty telling game, I think, for the Colts here. I tend to think that they kind of ride Jonathan Taylor no matter what. And that makes me a little bit more interested in Tyler Warren as part of like that identity. And I'm a little bit suspect of Josh Downs, who's at like half the routes right now. And so, yeah, I think the Colts will probably look like they've looked from an identity perspective, but this is a challenging matchup, I think, for them, both defensively and potentially trailing.
Yeah, 100%. It's the first time in Daniel Jones's career he's been a QB1 in 3 straight weeks. He's also thrown for over 9 yards per pass attempt in every game. The last time that happened for the Colts was Andrew Luck in 2018. That's never happened. It's like, yeah, these are like, this is where we are at Daniel Jones. You just comped him to 2020 Aaron Rodgers. Like,
I'm not comping him. He's blowing him out of the water. Aaron Rodgers stinks compared to this guy.
Yeah, 2020 Aaron Rodgers wishes he was 2025.
Yeah, he wishes he was Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I mean, this is where you worry about just like the natural pressure rate without blitzer. But like Daniel Jones right now, the interesting the stats for him that are really the most impressive is the non-hand holding stuff. Because like,
yeah,
you remove play action passes and you remove pre-snap motion passes, he's still at a 73% completion rate. The league average is 62%, 9.1 yards per pass. And the league average is 6.3, so almost 3 yards over. And then he's got a 7% touchdown rate, which is double the league 3.6% rate. So those are all going to come down like inherently, even if they run hot.
It's cool though. It's nice.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this would be a good spot to say, like, we just get some natural recoil, like just
for sure. Like
what I'm trying he can play well and they come down. Like,
yeah, like Daniel Jones, like will fall. Like he will 100%. It's a mortal lock. This is completely unsustainable. It doesn't mean that like it's a total mirage. It just means that like NFL quarterbacks just don't play this well over the course of a large sample. It's impossible, basically. So, but yeah, I mean, the pressure stuff is really interesting. The Colts are they're number 3 in EPA against the blitz, number 3 against in EPA against pressure, and then 2 from a clean pocket. So they've just been super efficient overall. But he's seen the highest blitz rate. They have the 12th. They're 12th in preventing pressure, so they've been okay there. They're 20th though in quick pressure rate, the Colts. So there has been some quick pressure. They're also 25th in pass block win rate. So the offensive line has not really, like, it isn't that he's just getting like the pristine protection. Like he's been really good. What I would say though is that like even with like non-play action stuff, non-motion stuff, he's looked good. Like but like on any play they basically can run the ball. They're always in the script where like they've not been, even if on that particular play they're not faking the run, like the run was a threat pre-snap in so many of their plays, and I think that's really, really helping Jones. So like let's see it in negative game script a little bit. Now there's no guarantee that they are a negative game script here. They could just beat the Rams and play from neutral or a positive script throughout. So it wouldn't shock me if they just roll here again. But yeah, that's kind of the thing with Jones, is that this sets him up to be under pressure, but also maybe like in obvious dropback situations, which is like how you would expect this to crumble for at least a week.
Yeah, I had some fun notes on Jonathan Taylor this week. So he has been the RB1 back-to-back weeks. The last player to do that was Jonathan Taylor last year, week 16, 17. So if you combine that in your brain, the last 6 weeks of regular season NFL football, Jonathan Taylor has led the running back position in fantasy points, which is pretty crazy. You have to go all the way back to 2022 to find the last guy that had back-to-back weeks. Because like, think about it, just being like, you have a lot of good games that just being the top scorer is hard. Like you have to operate like a crazy game. The last guy to do it before that was Jerick McKinnon, actually. With the Chiefs, like so, but if you think like any 6-week sample where like a running back was the top scorer, like overall, like that's just like an absolute bonkers like thing to have. He's now going back to last year, gone over 100 rushing yards in 6 of his past 7 games. Basically, since Anthony Richardson has not played, Jonathan Taylor's been really good. So
why is that, Rich? Why is that?
Yeah, why is that? Why is that? But his workload is the best of his career right now.
Yeah.
We talked about last week because like when you look at a service and you're like, he's only averaging 2.7 receptions per game. That's like by far a career high if it holds. He's been on the field. He hasn't come off the field on passing downs anymore. He's been on the field for
74% route participation. Yeah.
It's RB4 on the year.
RB4.
Like, it's huge. Just because that's the difference of like his archetype versus like a Derrick Henry. Like, you have to, like, Jonathan Taylor was always in that bucket. Like, he has to front run. He has to front run to get there. And that's like kind of been removed from the equation this year. So it's like, and he's not going to catch like 10 passes, but like that just having something and having other outs is a massive deal for his portfolio.
I completely agree. And I think that this, as nervous as I am a little bit about the Colts here, I think it's more like, do the Colts win this game? Like, I think I like the Rams here. I like the side of the Rams here. I'm with the market. But I'm not that nervous about Jonathan Taylor. Maybe from like a third straight RB1 I am, but
right, from like a 30-point game.
Yeah, from like a 30-point game, it's not ideal. But like, I think he's gonna get fed here. Like, they're going to, he is the centerpiece of what they're doing, is really my takeaway. Like, man, Taylor is so critical to this team's success right now. And I think they're well aware of that and are going to try to establish him. And if they're down 10, right, and it's like, we're third quarter, they're down 10. Are we getting Jonathan Taylor runs? Like, yep, we're getting Jonathan Taylor runs, because that's how they see, I think, their path to efficient offense comes through threatening with Jonathan Taylor, as well as the passing game. So if you
do get the flip side, and they do have to just start put in like just a position like the Rams put the Eagles in last week, where they have to throw. There are some opportunities here for these outside guys, because we talked about it last week. If the Eagles had to throw with Akella Witherspoon being out, like it was a pretty big deal for them. So you got guys like Pittman still like the one, but like Pittman is kind of in like that Drake London role where like he has to have a lot of volume,
right,
or get touchdowns. But this injury to Alec Pierce makes A.D. Mitchell pretty interesting in that outcome, especially at his price. I mean, since the start of last year, it's not because it's not Downs. Downs' role doesn't change when Pierce or Pittman miss. He's still the slot guy.
it didn't change last week either.
Yep. So since the start of last year, Mitchell, 92% route participation when Alec Pierce is off the field. He's also kind of like he's like Indianapolis Dontavian Wicks, that like he's been targeted on 35% of those routes. It's the highest rate of the team. And then if we just go to this year's sample, he's been it's 95% route participation on the non-Alec Pierce snaps, 41.2% target rate per route run. From Daniel Jones. They're more efficient targets than they were from Anthony Richardson. So if you are playing this game from like the angle that the Colts maybe throw more than they've had to this year, him as a punt against the outside, where they've struggled against outside receivers, 9.1 yards per target so far, that he becomes kind of interesting in that regard as well, because Tyler Warren's going to be popular, and then we'll see if people just inherently get the Pittman. But yeah, A.D. Mitchell looks pretty interesting on the surface as price point.
I agree, and I also comped him to Dontavian Wicks in the
there it is, man. Beautiful. You
didn't.
I
called him a Dontavian Wicks-esque fantasy relevant reserve.
Yes. Yeah. You were talking about Fannin, and I didn't want to share my Fannin comp with you, because I was like, I can't share it with like Gretcher's Crane. But I was like, Harold Fannin's turned into Dalton Kincaid in a bad offense.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to beat the allegations right now when he's running he's running fewer routes. So, we'll see. I think Njoku, I think, is basically Kate Otten in a bad offense, which is why I'm suggesting don't play him if he gets steamed. But right. Yeah, I like the Dontavian Wicks comp for sure.
Beautiful.
With Mitchell. The Rams side of this. One note on the Colts before we move on. the one concern I might have with Mitchell is his ADOT is 18.6, and that
Yeah.
Alec Pierce role is kind of a deep threat role, and you have the pass rush being a concern here. I do like Tyler Warren. I know he's going to get played, but like his, I mean, it's almost a concern about how shallow his ADOT has been. It's 5.2 this year, but he gets used on screens. They run stuff where like they'll roll Jones out, and it's like clearly like it's like Warren or throw the ball away type stuff. So he gets
He's
design
awesome
plays for
after the
him.
catch, though, too. That's the
He's
difference.
awesome after the
Because
catch.
that's the
Yeah.
difference between him and like a guy like McBride who gets like a lot of low ADOT stuff, but like doesn't really do a lot with it afterwards. Like he's
Yep.
just like gets a lot of volume up there. It's like, but Warren can actually his ADOT like could be like tight end Debo or like Tucker Craft or like something like that.
Totally. And I mean, so he's got a 19% first read target rate, which is 92nd percentile for the position, and he's a rookie tight end. Like this is 3 games in, he's already a huge part of what they're doing. So I'm still pretty into him from a DFS perspective, even with him being a little chalky, because it's like
Yeah.
he's gonna. I think he's going to be a key piece of what they're doing. And if they have to pass a little bit more, but they're still like trying to threaten with the run, like he's a great run blocker. He's kind of part of that whole like being able to threaten with both the run and the pass. He kind of embodies that, I think, and he's still pretty cheap. You know, it's not like you're having to like pay up a ton for him. He's 4,600. So I'm still a fan of Tyler Warren. I wish I had more best ball shares for sure, but yeah,
I wish I just
I'm in
had
on
on
him
more
this week.
teams, period. I mean,
I know he looks awesome.
you know, there was a
On the
period where he was like real affordable, and then like he never like climbed like gradually. He just like went to like the 6th round. Like he just like there was like
right,
no slow build with him. He was just like kind of being drafted at like tight end 12, and then he just was being drafted at tight end 6. Like it never like climbed up to it. It just happened. And I was
yeah,
like, oh, I wish I'd took him more when he was there. Like,
I know. There's always those guys. Like Abuka was one where I was like, yeah, you know, I think Abuka's a pretty good pick in round in late round 7. I'm definitely gonna take him like, you know, some, not all the time. And then it's like, oh, cool, he's going around 3 now.
yeah, great, around
Like,
4. That's what
yeah,
happened to Warren. He just like it's like, oh, where was the slow play on this? Where was my chance
yeah,
to get in?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
you're like, oh, you missed it. It was actually here the entire 2 months
Right.
before.
You had to hammer it. You had to absolutely hammer it. It's such a funny thing with the best ball stuff now is that like I need to, it's tough because I was about to say I need to get better at it, but like some guys I'm like, I'm just gonna
No, you're good.
hammer this guy, and then like they're like, yeah, you're gonna get Luther Burden actually even a couple rounds cheaper. You know, you're gonna have just a giga bag of this guy now because you were hammering him at a price you thought was too cheap, and then he falls. So it's, I don't know, it's just a fun kind of tricky part of
Mhm.
the market right now. Rams side, Puka Nakua is
Yep.
he's got he's got a 40% first read target rate, which is like basically twice an elite rate. He's a double an elite rate. Devontae Adams at 27%. He's nursing a hamstring injury. Reports are that he's going to play. 27% would have led the league last year easily in first read target rate. He's at 30% target per out run. That's 98th percentile. Puka's at 43%. This just insane stuff in terms of
Just
the concentration it's
God
offense.
bless Sean McVay.
He's an amazing man. Please don't call games. Keep coaching, buddy. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, I mean, this is pretty great spot for Puka. Pretty great spot for Puka and for
Yep.
Adams. Adams is going to have some ownership here, but maybe less because of the hamstring stuff. So
Yeah,
he's kind of
maybe.
a pivot if that, you know, keeps him in check. But the Colts pass rush has not been good. Rams have not protected Stafford well, but one of the
But when
notes
he's
I have is,
clean, yeah.
yeah, from a clean pocket, he's awesome. He's quarterback 1 in PFF passing grade, which is kind of a throw grade. So it's like when it goes well, like when he is able to, when it's a Stafford pass, that's good. The issue is when it's not a Stafford pass, things are not as it's not like he's terrible. He's quarterback 13 in EPA per game among quarterbacks with 100 plus dropbacks. He's quarterback 1 though among those quarterbacks in passing grade. He's quarterback 12 in success rate. So the big thing is, can they protect him? And I think they can this week. which makes this a really strong matchup for him and especially for his receivers.
Yeah,
Oh, the Colts
100%.
are going to be without Kenny Moore,
Yep.
who's been
Yeah, they brought big lose boy Mike Hilton back.
Yeah.
All
So
big Lou
Puka,
everywhere.
we've noted he's in the slot more. That
Yep.
could be good for him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just Sean McVay. Can we get one target for this guy in the red zone? Like, come on, man! Like, 44.
You're giving him rushes. Like, why? Like, he's a big guy. He gets open quickly.
Like, he should be good in the red zone.
He should be awesome.
Plus, he's like a motion guy. Like, he's the dude. Like, yeah, he has a 45% target share outside the red zone. Like,
that's insane, man.
He has a
39% target share overall.
So. Yeah, that's what I say. Yeah, well, he only has one red zone target. So the Rams have thrown 9 passes into the actual end zone this year. 8 have gone to Devontae Adams. The other one to Davis Allen. Yeah. So, like, what? Come on, like, because McVay. The frustrating part about this, like, you can kind of almost like we talked about Ladd and Zay, and it kind of almost makes sense why those guys don't get design stuff in the red zone, like for the archetype they are. Sure. But like, McVay can seemingly like every big down, it's like 3rd and 9. You're like, what are they gonna do? I'm probably gonna throw it to Puka here, and he'll dial up some shit and get him open. And you're like,
right?
Well, we need touchdowns. Why don't you just do that there? Like, I'll just do the fun, do the dial them up.
And also, I'm not even sure it makes it like Hunter Renfrow gets like end zone targets because he gets open real quick on like the choice route stuff. Like, why can't the choice route thing? It seems like a pretty good end zone route. We can't do that for Puka.
Yeah, we gotta run fades,
and Ladd.
It is the only flying in the ointment, if there even is one, because he already set the record for target rate per route run last year in a season, and like he's got
it out of the water.
It's like 7% higher this year. It's like what are we doing?
Well, I think what we're doing is playing him in DFS, Rich, because I mean, if he scores touchdowns, it's over. Like, you had to have him.
Oh my God, if he scored touchdowns, dude, he would break fantasy football.
He would break fantasy football.
That's just, yeah, it's absolutely wild. But yeah, that's it though. That's what we love it. We love it. Rams make it real easy for us. That's what we love about them.
And Puka will be big chalk this week.
Who cares?
Pretty good chalk. Pretty good chalk, I think. Yeah. Who cares?
Well, because on DraftKings, I said in week 2, like when he came out in week 1 and they were moving in the slot and he had like that 50% target share.
Yeah.
On our other show, I was like, until he's 9K, I'm just like, there's no way I'm not playing on DraftKings. And FanDuel, ironically, were like, we'll just make him 9K. Like, we don't care. We'll do it immediately. And DraftKings is like, we'll just nudge him up. We'll just keep nudging him up. And it's like, dude, he should be 9K minimum on DraftKings on a full PPR site.
Yeah. 7,900. He's over 1,000 underpriced. In a slate where we can find savings. So,
and we can just play him. Like, it's not even hard. We can play him in McCaffrey.
Yeah, that's probably what I'm going to do. I'm going to start my lineup with like 60% ownership with 2 players.
Yeah,
I'm going to do it. You can't stop me.
Nope.
DraftKings. But yeah, I mean, Adams is. I would love like an Adams in the teens. That would be fun.
I mean, this the other thing that we talked about with like that Mitchell can unlock is like your onslaught in this game, because that's how you can just play all the dudes in this game.
This is an interesting onslaught game because you have like you could do stuff with the Colts, like you could do like a Jones, Warren, Mitchell, and then
I mean you can also play Jones with Taylor, I think, because you can buy every touchdown in the offense. I think
I agree. Yeah, I think that's viable. So
I mean, this game has from a building stance, like you just have it's the optionality is just, it's a Pandora's box. This game you could play all the chalk in this game and still find a way to stack it differently.
Right. Yeah. It's a fun one. I think Puka's by far the most comfortable click. But there are other really interesting pieces. Kyren Williams, he's only 6,300. I think he's actually kind of, there's been some like the stuff with Williams. I mean, Williams, he hasn't been very good kind of for a while, but he's like running back 18 in rush yards over expected per game. He's running back 15 in success rate. And that's kind of been like, you got a 45% success rate. That's good. It's kind of his whole deal. He doesn't really get used as a receiver. Did score a touchdown, but his target share is 7%. Like, it's not good. 0.70 yards per route run. Not good. But he's still at a 76% snap share, 68% of team attempts, Last week, he was at a 76% snap share, 65% of team attempts. I'm not like real worried about Blake Corum or anything. Like it's still the same. It's the same thing it's been. It feels like people are a little bit less excited about Kyren. But I think like the Colts run defense hasn't been good.
No, that's where
And
this game goes wrong, is if it's a Kyren game.
yeah, but it could be a Kyren game. I
It
think
absolutely could be.
he's interesting.
If Adams is like isn't 100%, and they're just kind of, again, because it's not going to be like Whittington and Atwell and these other guys, or Higbee, like it'll just be them running the ball down the Colts' throat. That would be the thing, because they actually opened up that way last week. Like they were running, and that is something that I wrote about too in the matchups last week, is like Vic Fangio's just been willing in these matchups against the Rams. So Williams ran into a light box on 50% of his runs last week. In the first 2 weeks, it was 27.8% and 11.8%. And then Williams has 5 games the past 2 years of running into a light box 50% of the time. 3 of those games are the Eagles games. Like Vic Fangio's just let them kind of run in the and so I'm curious to see how it plays out. Because
Has he
usually
played
he
Lou?
doesn't.
What's Lou's?
Yeah, Lou is one of those guys that mixes up. So like it hasn't.
Hmm.
Yeah, like so we'll have to see what Big Lou does. But that's the one wild card of Big Lou, is he always does something different for like his opponents. Sometimes it's dumb. And he opens up the floodgates. He's done this before, like, right? Like taking away some random piece, and you're just like, well, what was that about? And it's like, why didn't we
We're
shut
not
that?
getting beat by Tutu Atwell this
Like
week.
it's just like weird stuff, man. Like, but he mixes some stuff up. He'll do like games where he's like, I'm only gonna rush 3 all game and just like play, 8 in coverage. That was like the Mahomes thing. Like I do against Mahomes. Like, so it's he's like not as easy to predict, like, or like what he's gonna do. Like some of these other guys, like Avira, like the Panthers defense coordinator, does the same thing every game. Just literally, just this is the game plan. Patrick Graham for the Raiders,
Yeah.
who we're going to talk about, just like, what if we just keep doing the thing that hasn't worked for us? Like, I mean, we like that though. Gus Bradley, who the
We
Colts
do.
used
We
to
love it.
have, it's the
We
opposite
love
of
it.
what the Colts used to do, because Gus Bradley would just be like, "This is what I do. Like,
Right.
this is what I do. This is the way we're going to play."
I don't like that approach on offense. Love it on defense.
Yes,
Love it on
yeah,
defense.
yes,
Have a core philosophy. Don't worry about like who's hurt or like if people don't fit your scheme. That doesn't matter. Just
no,
do the same
100%.
thing every week. Yeah. And whatever you're going to run post snap, show it. Show it ahead of time.
Yes,
That's great too. All right. Let's I guess I'll note like this game's kind of we talked about it being a one to stack up. The Kyren angle would be the like this game fails. Some of my nervousness about like the Colts getting a little bit pushed off of the way they want to play with the pass rush and everything, and they kind of have a bit of a letdown, which is coming at some point. Then Kyren would be the way to play this game, flopping a little bit. Jaguars at 49ers. This game could be fun, I think, because Brock Purdy's back. Is Juwan Jennings going to play in this game or
I
not?
just looked it up before you got to it, and he is practicing right now.
All right, that's fun.
Yep. He's on the field. And
Can you
last
tell I
time
have like 25% of him in Eliminator right
and
now?
two weeks ago, he missed all practice but Friday and played. So I would assume like this is good, unless he
Yeah.
has a step back during practice.
All right, so that's nice. The Jags defense has been better than expected. They've been pretty good against the pass. They have a good pass rush with Josh Hines Allen. Not an amazing pass rush, but it's decent, and they've been really good in coverage. But the numbers might be fraudulent here. They have faced the Panthers, they faced the Texans. They got a partial game from Joe Burrow, and then Jake Browning just throwing to Jamar Chase constantly.
Yep.
And so this like could, I think it's funny because you look at Jaguars on paper, it looks like a really, really strong secondary paired with like a decent pass rush. But I think what they might be is a team that has a decent pass rush and then a secondary that's not actually very good. And so we'll see. But this is with Purdy back and Jennings back. I kind of like this for the 49ers to be efficient through the air. But of course, Christian McCaffrey is kind of the story here on the 49ers side. He's coming off 15 target game. He has a 30% target share. He's at 2.09 yards per route run. It's all nuts. And then I dug into his rushing efficiency, because right now he's running back 38 in rush yards over expected per game, 38 per attempt, 41 per game. Running back 41 in rush yards over expected per game. Running back 37 with a 34% success rate, which is, all pretty concerning. But go to week 1, he posts minus 25 rush yards over expected, which is obviously very bad, and a 9% success rate, which is like off the charts bad. Weeks 2 through 3, he's still negative in rush yards over expected, but it's -3, -4. It's not like terrible. And then success rates of 62%, which is his lowest volume game, and a 47% mark last week. So he's been good in terms of success rate over the last 2 weeks. He's 53%. I think from the perspective of like, if your approach to the slate is like McCaffrey won't bury me, he's chalk and he won't bury me. He'll just have like a good game, but like I can find ways to win if McCaffrey scores like 25. He could bury you. He could definitely bury you here, because the rushing efficiency might actually just be kind of like the week 1 might not matter in his first game back, and it's doing a lot of work and kind of keeping his 2025 numbers looking bad when he might be totally fine as a runner. Small sample. So
we'd love to see some explosives. We haven't seen any really in the run game. That's the one kind of thing lacking. The run blocking has been horrible. Dominic Pooney's been playing with a PCL injury because he was like the bright spot last year that they found him in the draft, and he's been horrible these opening 3 games. He's playing hurt though, so I'll give him a little bit of benefit of the doubt. But I had the same notes as you that he had the league worst rate of runs over expectation in week 1, and that's what kind of killed the season stuff. But in then week 2, he was actually 3rd. Again, you said smaller sample, and then last week he was 12th. So like fine, like that's fine to be at.
He's kind of been fine actually.
And the run games where they've tried to like alleviate his workload a little bit because he's had to be used so heavily as a pass catcher. So there might be a point in the season where naturally he can't have a 30% target share. It feels just such a necessity though right now. And maybe even comes down a little bit here, but like when Ayuk and Kittle come back and like it's full field or full on, like all the 49ers are back, it probably isn't as high. But that's when maybe you can see him maybe start to be utilized more as a runner, because then now teams have to respect like, hey, they've got 49ers of all their dudes now. Like we have to respect the pass game now too. So we just won't know until that happens. And it's going to still be, we're weeks away from that even being a thing. So we'll just keep riding this element out, because we already seen 2 weeks ago, even when Jennings played with Pearsall, he still had like an immense amount of usage in the passing game. And it's not like this check down stuff. Like they're flexing him out. He's running like stuff off motion. Like he's doing all kinds of stuff. Like Kyle's been in his bag using McCaffrey as a receiver because he also knows the other team knows he's getting the ball and he's still able to. It's the McVay Puka stuff. Like he's doing all the stuff we talked about McVay doing for Puka. He's doing that for McCaffrey in the passing game.
Yeah, he had a 19% target share 2 weeks ago. Ran 81% of the routes. Like he's a receiver, man. He's just a straight up like underneath, like kind of slot receiver basically. So, and then on top of that, you get the rushing work. I could totally see it like this week. McCaffrey has a season low 16% target share and scores 2 touchdowns. Like I think Purdy being back is a big deal. I'm very much of like, Purdy's a lot better than Mac Jones. I think it's a big deal to get Purdy back. And this Jaguars defense that's probably not very good. It was a defense we were targeting ahead of the season. They've overperformed expectations, but probably a lot related to the schedule. So yeah, I like the 49ers to put up a bunch of points this week. That's they have an implied team total of 25. I'd probably take the over there. I would take the over there. The Jaguars could be pushed, which is nice. Trevor Lawrence has been like kind of straight up bad at this point, you'd have to say. I mean, he was mediocre the first couple weeks, and then he was bad last week. It's not great. The completion percentage is actually what jumps out to me with him. 56% completion percentage. He has a minus 11% completion percentage over expected. I don't tend to spend a ton of time on CPOE or completion percentage, but this is like a big outlier. This is like a Anthony Richardson level CPOE, literally. That's where he was. He was at minus 11% last year, which was the league low. Trevor Lawrence was at minus 4%.
It's all the Anthony Richardson stuff too, because like Anthony Richardson had that conglomeration of drops and inaccurate throws. And that's like what's
Right.
happening to Trevor Lawrence. Like, because he is the highest drop rate in the league at 11.5%, but he's also 18th in an accurate throw rate. And he's actually 21st in an accurate throw rate on throws 10 or more yards downfield. So it's like the marriage of everything has been the disaster. It's just what's gone wrong. It's not just the guys are dropping the balls. They're dropping balls, the ones he actually puts on target. And then he's also not putting a lot of them on target.
And he's been inaccurate. He was at -4% CPOE last year, which was after Richardson and Rattler at -10 last year. Cooper Rush was at -6, Aaron Rodgers was at -5, and then Lawrence was at -4. So it's a real thing. It's just like it's not going to be this bad for the rest of the year. So yeah, I mean, I think he could be. Now it looks like De'Ami Brown will be out, which has Parker Washington coming in. He's one of these guys I'm kind of intrigued by. Is like kind of a punt reserve coming in. Brent Strange got a lot of work last week, which is notable. I will note though, he still just has a 11% first read target rate, and so I kind of a little harder to count on. He was at just 10%
He's led
last
the
week.
team in receiving 2 of the 3 games, which I think says a lot more about this passing game than it does Bretton Strange.
I agree. Yeah, exactly. He's kind of a symptom of the passing game failing.
Yes.
So if you're betting on the passing game succeeding, I think you want to play it through Brian Thomas and maybe even Parker Washington. But yeah, this is an interesting setup because they could really get pushed here. And the one thing the one thing I do kind of believe in them is that they've protected Lawrence really well. They're first in preventing quick pressure and first in preventing pressure. And the 49ers lost Nick Bosa.
Yeah.
So that'll be an issue. Now he's not their only edge. Bryce Huff has been pretty good actually, 19th in pass rush win rate. So it's not like they don't have any pass rush left, but maybe the Jags offensive line is pretty good. And maybe they get pushed, and maybe Trevor Lawrence has some positive regression in terms of completion percentage that helps us out here.
Yeah, we're gonna need it. I mean, it's just so tough because Brian Thomas Jr. is clearly dealing with some kind of risk. I don't know the severity of it. I saw some tweets yesterday about this could be like this type of injury that I don't know anything about, so I'm not going to speculate. But he definitely doesn't look right in terms of like
no, he doesn't look right.
Yeah, I mean, he was holding his holding his wrist like it's like in a weird way, and then when we remove Brian Thomas, we still. Liam Cohen's already said they're not going to change Travis Hunter's position. So if De'Ami Brown's out, that's not going to change. And then we've got to involve Parker Washington more. Like how exciting is that? Like for the offense, that's definitely not a skeleton key. You look at you can't have Parker Washington lead your team in targets. That's kind of the frustration of the passing game in total, right? On 600 career routes, he's averaging 1.04 yards per out run. Since he entered the league, that's 84th out of 98 receivers to run that many routes as him. It's just like this is the spot where I feel like we get some truth revealed about the Jaguars because they've been game. They obviously have week 1. They dog walk the Panthers. They could have had a real shot to beat the Bengals, but Jake Browning beats them in the 11th hour. They really don't do anything last week. The Texans just kind of beat themselves. Nico has that fumble, and then it's like it feels like this is the spot where we kind of get some the true version of and they might be better than we all thought. That can also be true. But I feel like this is where we get some truth revealed of they're not ready to punch up yet.
That could definitely. I don't think they're ready to punch up, but I think maybe they're ready to get pushed into a pass heavy script and we get some garbage time a little bit. I would note that our Twitter's resume on risk diagnosis isn't ideal. We did remember when we did the bottle flip last year with Burrow.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh man,
we're not.
How did we allow this to happen?
I'm gonna be. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna fade risk Twitter. I'll be like
I said, I'm not a doctor. I don't know anything that's going it was just really weird, the way he was I don't know what it meant.
No,
maybe it means nothing.
He has, I've seen the video he throws the football and he's kind of grabbing the wrist and there's something going. I'm not saying there's nothing going on, but
we just don't know. Yeah,
we just don't know. And he's got a 21% target rate, 18% first read target rate, 23% target share. His yards per target is just 4.8, and so you're dealing with like weak per target efficiency, which could be related to him having a wrist injury. I'll grant you that, but also
Yeah.
like isn't sticky generally, and so he might just be running bad. Or maybe it is related somewhat to the wrist, but like I'm getting buy low Brian Thomas in a spot where we could have the Jags pass like 70 something percent of the time. If the 49ers are as potent here as I think they will be. So they've peaked it with just a 66% pass rate, which isn't low, but it's not like super high. So would love to
I
see
just
them get
traded
pushed
for
a
him,
bit here.
so I hope he does something.
Remember what were our trade? How did the trade age that we were doing last week? We were trading away somebody, and I
Oh,
think
we
we were
were
getting
talking about
Brian
Jamar
Thomas
Chase.
back.
We were talking about Jamar
Oh,
Chase,
yeah.
and now you can't trade Jamar Chase.
You can't trade. It's over. It's over.
But I actually was able to. That's where I traded for Brian Thomas this week. It was a 2 QB league where the gamer needed a quarterback, and I had like 4 on my roster, so I traded him Kyler Murray and T Higgins for Brian Thomas Jr. I was like, I'm just getting out of T Higgins the business, and I'll just see what happens.
And before the like last 2 drives of last night's game, you must have been feeling amazing about that trade. Kyler looked completely lost.
Yeah, and Kyler was like one of those guys where I actually wanted to dump him too because I wanted to not be tempted into starting him in the future. Like, do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Like,
No,
I
I know
wanted
you
to
mean.
just
Yeah.
him removed from my roster for the element of not talking myself into playing him, and that was like,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I just want to be alleviated from this.
I love that. Oh man. Running game on the Jags side, ETN had 67% of the attempts last week. I did note though that LaQuint Allen was up to a 30% snap share in a game where they weren't even like in like negative game script exactly, but they did pass with the highest rate they had all season. And if the Jags were to like lead in this game, I think we would probably see a decent amount of Tootin, not to where you'd play him, but to where you might be worried about ETN. So, and ETN's been at 50% of carries, 52% of carries the first 2 weeks,
Yeah,
jumps
he's
up to
sucking out big
67.
time, man.
Yeah. So fragile. My point is just ETN is fragile.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
As I said, he's been sucking out and he got gifted the touchdown. The fact that you've lost red zone touches in like in game script 2 weeks in a row is a big deal because he could have come in after the pass interference on the first Tootin touchdown and they did not choose to do so.
Which you love to
So
see.
yes, you do love to see.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's been he's the RB23 in expected points and is the RB9 in actual points. Like feels like
Yep.
this is a good spot where that comes to like that starts to get closer together.
Also, the why RB23 in expected points? Let's go down. Maybe RB33. You know, what
Yeah.
about RB43?
Yeah.
Let's get Tootin out there. Let me get Tootin. I've already got Judkins as a two
That's
down
right.
running back on a bad team. Why not Tootin? Tootin is a 2 down running back on a bad team would also be fun. Um, the all right. Let's go to the Ravens at Chiefs. So kind of want to get your thoughts on a take I have here, which is that um, the Chiefs' run defense doesn't look very good to me, and Derrick Henry has been pretty explosive still. His
Oh
success
yeah.
rate's not been good. He's fumbling the ball. He's losing games. So that's not great.
Which he's never
But
really done, so we shouldn't, go crazy.
right, no. But the Chiefs are the 29th in EPA against the run, 29th in success rate, 22nd in DVOA,
Hey, my son was cooking him. My
28th in run
son was
stop win rate.
cooking on Sunday night.
Was he?
Yeah, Scatterbuff, baby. He is. Yeah.
Oh, your son, so you have a son, so, and you
Yeah.
talked about you watching
Yeah.
football.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
So I
yeah.
thought you were watching the game and he's making fun of the Chiefs defense.
Oh no. My son. I'm swerving into it.
I
I'm
went way
swerving
over my
into
head.
it. Swerving into being Cam Scatterbuff's dad.
Are you Cam Scatterbuff's dad? um,
I mean, my son is not much younger than Cam Scatterbuff, my oldest. So
I know. I knew your son. He graduated recently. Where did he
yeah.
graduate? Did he graduate from Arizona State? The the Chiefs run defense been cooked by someone close to one of the co-hosts of this podcast. And yeah, Derrick Henry. I mean, he's still like every time I I faded Derrick Henry pretty hard in best ball, and every time Derrick Henry touches the ball, I'm like, oh no, oh no. Like he still looks. If you don't get him down, they're
Oh
diving at
yeah.
his feet, and it's working a decent amount. But when it doesn't work, it's one of the scariest things. Derrick Henry with like even not even a full head of steam, just like 75% ramped up is like one of the scariest things because you know he's getting 100 pretty quickly, and then you're screwed. So I like Derrick Henry here. And I looking at projections, it doesn't seem like he's
Oh yeah,
really
he's not gonna
projecting
be
that well.
popular. Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
he's gonna be popular.
Why not? Why aren't people into it?
I think just probably the board, and then just we've haven't seen him the last 2 weeks. Well, he was popular in week 2, and then didn't absolutely flamed. And he wasn't on the slate, and then he was getting kind of like dragged a little bit. So, but this would be kind of a spot to keep him because like you always care about just the Ravens controlling games, and they are favored here. It's the first time Mahomes has been a home dog in back-to-back games because he was 2 weeks ago against the Eagles. They were dogs. You got the touchdown, the opening 30-yard touchdown from Henry. But since he's joined the Ravens, he's been on the field for 62% of snaps when they are tied or ahead. And when trailing, it goes to 46.6%. And when Henry's on the field with the Ravens, they've run the ball 61.4% of the time. It just flips on its head. When he's off the field, they throw 63.8% of the time. So it's just all about game script with him. And if you get the game script that's implied, we'd assume that he's got chances to pop some. And this is where you want to have Derrick Henry. You never want to be on chalk Derrick Henry.
No.
It's like, because he's the guy that's going to drop you the 80-yard touchdown. You want it to matter. This would be the spot to take some shots on him. You're not wrong.
Yeah, I mean it is a fragile play because to
Well,
your
but
point, I mean they can pull him off.
that's what you're calling it though. Like
Yeah.
it's large field. Like nobody's playing this dude this week.
Yeah.
I
Which
actually
I'm
dig it.
which I'm into. Yeah, I mean the the other thing that I'd note here with kind of the game script and sort of how these teams want to play, Lamar Jackson has a 32% pressure to sack rate right now, which is the highest in the league. He's dealing with pressure. He has a long time to throw, which is pretty typical. He is throwing deep and like kind of making use of that time and taking on pressure and taking on sacks. But we're getting something out of that. He's been fun, but it's like kind of this style that I don't think the Ravens can be completely happy with, right? Like they don't want Lamar getting sacked like this. They get a pretty weak Chiefs defense. You also have the Chiefs have been getting run against. They have opponents have just a 60% pass rate against them, a -3% PROE, a 4% shift in PROE to the run. So with the Chiefs not getting the respect that they've typically gotten on offense and just not been as good as they usually are on offense, opponents have been able to run. And I think this is a spot where like, hey, you're going to give me a weak run defense and we can kind of get back to the way we want to play. The Ravens had a 46% pass rate against the Bills in week 1 and led, the vast majority of that game. Then they can't get Derrick Henry going against a good Cleveland run defense. They pass 67% of the time. They're trailing against the Lions to pass 70% of the time. But I think they want to be that team in week 1. Like that's who they're built to be.
Oh yeah,
And
big picture.
yeah, big picture. And they can get back to that here, I think. Not a guarantee because the Chiefs will have Worthy back and the Ravens have a bunch of injuries on the defensive side. So maybe this just becomes a shootout and then Henry probably doesn't get there. But if the Ravens want Derrick Henry to have a big game here, I think, and will I think view this as a spot where that's like a plan A type of approach. What are your thoughts though on the Chiefs side? Oh, go
Yeah,
ahead,
like
sorry.
I mean, we just need the Chiefs offense to do anything. Like so, for it to be the opposite, right? To be like kind
Yeah,
of one
yeah,
of those
yeah.
games that hits this total. This game feels like such an under. Like I don't know why this total. Like I keep looking at this total. I'm like, why is this total so high? Maybe just because the Ravens, right? Like the Ravens are dragging it up because they just score so many damn points, and it doesn't matter. But like I was looking at this total, I was like, man, how like the Chiefs better show something here. And I know Worthy's coming back in some capacity, but Mahomes has thrown for 6.6 yards per attempt in every game or lower. He's 28th in completion rate. He's number 1 in the NFL in inaccurate throw rate right now because the Chiefs have stuck to their plan. Like they told us they're going to do all offseason. They're like, we want to throw the ball downfield this year.
Yep.
And they've done that. He's 8th in air yards per pass attempt. He's 7th in deep throw rate. That's the highest rate since 2018 for him in both areas. The problem is he's only completed 4 of those 15 passes, which is, not good. Well, because their best pass catcher's Tyquan freaking Thornton. Like
Yeah.
this is, and they can't run. The backfield's a mess. Like it's, yes, you do get the success rate stuff from Kareem Hunt,
That's it though.
but it's the stuff that is just manipulating success rate. He's not giving you any explosives. He's not
right.
Pacheco feels like the number one roster clogger you could have in redraft leagues right now, because you're never going to want to cut this guy. He has no role to score touchdowns with Kareem Hunt. He's not catching any passes. I mean, he just feels like a guy you need to do the Kyler Murray thing with me. Like you need to get him off your roster just to feel better. Like
trade him for Parker Washington just to get him off there.
Just to remove him. He has a toucher target on 29.2% of his snaps. The only running back that's played as many snaps than a lower rate is Jerome Ford. Like Isaiah Pacheco is Kansas City Jerome Ford. Is like basically what I just said. Like
I think if you could have Jerome Ford on the Chiefs, I would be more excited about Jerome Ford. If they traded them in real life, I'd be like, Jerome Ford might be able to do something here.
Yeah, man. So it's he looks like the number one roster clogger right now in redraft
100%. 100%. It's been so bad. Yeah, because it's the Hunt stuff. I mean, Hunt stealing, like Hunt has 7.2 expected points per game, and Pacheco's at 7.1. So you're dealing with, like, if there was no Hunt, this would be pretty cool. He'd probably be only scoring like 11, 12 points. But that's better than the 4.8 he's actually averaging. But yeah, it's the split workload with no explosiveness. He's yet to have a breakaway run. Neither does Hunt. And if you look at rush yards over expected, Hunt's been better actually than Pacheco. So the Pacheco is like a worse version of Hunt right now. He's got a 52% success rate to Hunt's 59. He's running back 29 in rush yards over expected. Hunt's running back 23. So maybe they should just play Hunt more. It's not good. It's really not good.
Yeah, it's rough. I don't know what to expect out of the Worthy stuff. I think everyone's flying blind. If you do play him, I get it, because it's one of those things we talked about with Henderson. Like if he ends up just being like having like a full route participation, and they're doing the thing where they're running the offense through him again because Tyquan is getting some respect downfield, then you'll be ahead of the field because everyone's gonna be scared this week. And then you won't be able to put it back in the bottle again. Everyone will know. So I do understand that element of like large field. You're just going to take a shot. I do kind of like Thornton here, though, as just like a base play through this game. Because I think no matter what, he's still going to, because I think if Worthy comes back, he's going to be in like the role where he's still getting like 30 to 40% slot snaps and not just deep stuff. Like he's not just going to come back and be like a downfield decoy, I don't think. But Thornton is also going to be able to get those deep shots, and the Ravens have really struggled against the kind of vertical throws, and they play a ton of man coverage, which has kind of been where he's been getting like Mahomes has just been willing to give him a shot. And like he has a 29% target rate against man coverage, 13% rate against zone. But also I did like the way his role grew on Sunday night. They actually ran more regular receiver stuff through him instead of just the downfield stuff. Like they kind of had like religion of like, what if this dude actually is like okay and like he's better than Hollywood Brown? Because I think what is going to happen eventually when Rice comes back is Hollywood's going to find himself on the outside, and Thornton's going to be Justin Watson but with more targets, like that role.
I love that comp. That is what he's going to be. Hollywood stinks.
And then Rice is going to feast if that's the case, because if Thornton is Justin Watson while getting targets, then and Worthy's back, like Rice is going to destroy the middle of the field. Like he's going to absolutely walk back into like a nuclear spot.
I have teams that are like borderline, like that aren't advancing right now, but are close in best ball. And like I've got a 5-5-5 team. I'm not checking like every fifth place team, but like I've got a 5-5-5 team that's like in like fourth place, but reasonably close to second. That has Rice, and I'm just like, hang on, baby, hang on, just a couple more weeks, and we're gonna get some serious Rice is gonna crush. Like he's like probably like number one guy on
Yeah,
on
because I think
teams
we
that
took the
I'd like
wrong
to have.
signal from week 1 with Hollywood. But a lot of people looked at Hollywood and they're like, he got 16 targets. And then we didn't look at it as like, he got 16 targets and had 99 yards. And then one was a 45-yard catch that Mahomes ad-libbed, like a Mahomesian play. And it's just like, the signal should have been like, Hollywood's still probably not that good. Like, this
Yeah.
might be like a problem still.
The other thing is that I noted that, in week 1, he was kind of filling in for the Xavier Worthy role, but he
Yes.
didn't face much double coverage, so he kind of got the best of both worlds where it's like you're getting the Xavier Worthy game plan. Like, they clearly had a bunch of first reads designed for Xavier Worthy, and then they're like, well, he's got to go somewhere, and they went to Hollywood Brown. But he wasn't really getting double covered, and then the Eagles did use double coverage against him. But he was only at 30%, and Tyquan Thornton was at 43% in that game. And Thornton outproduced him in week 2. And then Brown was down to just 21% double coverage last week, with Thornton ahead of him again and leading the team. Or they tied. They both had 21% last week, but Thornton outproduced him. And I think Thornton's probably just better, to be honest. So Davis Maddock was talking about Thornton this week too, and he hadn't really been on my radar as an actual play because my read was that until Rice is back, we'll probably just see like a rotation behind, with including Worthy, because he's not going to obviously have full routes. So my guess is that we kind of see Brown, Thornton, Juju, and Worthy kind of like mixing in around like the 70 to 80-ish% range, but that no one's above 80. But yeah, Thornton, I mean, he's got 25.2 ADOT, and he's handling a ton of double coverage and still getting targeted. So,
well, last week they kind of built. They were like the first 2 weeks the whole plane was built out of the prairie yards with Tyquan Thornton, and then last week it kind of shifted where he was like actually used as a wide receiver. He had the 9 target game, but so first 2 weeks, 75 and 80% of his targets are 20 or more yards downfield. It was 44% last week, still very high, but cut in half. And then he had, so he had 33% of his targets like within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage, which he didn't have access to those targets, which are a little more floor appealing. Now, will he have those if Worthy comes back? That's where we're flying blind. But the one thing, as bad as it's gone for the Chiefs, they still are throwing the ball. So we know they're going to still drop back. That's why I still want to nibble on some of these guys if the game can get here and the Ravens can just drag them up into like a high scoring game, because the Ravens are capable of doing that seemingly against everyone. So, but the Chiefs in neutral game script 69% drop back rate. It's, even as bad as it's gone, they know, like Andy Reid's like, Mahomes
can't
our best
run.
player. Yeah, that's the problem. And that's why this matchup in particular is frustrating, because they can't do what the Lions did on Monday night with the absence of Vanoy and Nnamdi Madubuike. They're not going to line up and run for 200 yards, man.
Yeah, what are your thoughts? Because they're also out another defensive lineman. They're down those two plus.
Yeah, I just feel like that's the
Washington,
impact of pass rush more, right? I don't expect the Chiefs to be able to just line up and run the football, but maybe if they're running
Washington. Sorry, what were you saying?
No, I was just even with the absences, it's just hard to see the Chiefs having like a game where they go for 150 rushing yards.
If they go for 150 rushing yards, it's because Mahomes has 89.
Right. I was just, I meant the running backs doing this. So. The tough part about Mahomes too is for 2 weeks I was writing it up. I was like, dude, this dude's scrambling and it's fun, but when he has a game where he doesn't scramble, we're gonna see where the fantasy floor is.
Mm-hmm.
And we got it. We unfortunately got it last week. You're really contingent on him creating a lot with his legs, and that's even though he was doing it out of necessity. It's hard to say how stable it is that from a projection stance, it's gonna be.
Yeah. I like that our read on this game is that it's probably going under and that Derrick Henry's underplayed unless Tyquan Thornton goes off.
Unless Tyquan. Well, no, listen, you could do Derrick Henry with Tyquan is cheap enough to help you pay for Derrick Henry, so
yeah.
But I don't mind doing the Worthy stuff. I'll probably at least make one Worthy lineup just because, right? He's not going to be popular just because so many people are going to be scared. And I think the probable outcome is he doesn't this high risk and doesn't get a lot of usage. But in the one outcome he does, I don't want to be saying like I sat on my hands.
He's not on
So
the injury report. It's such a tricky one to figure
it
out.
is. Well, he's playing with a
Because,
torn labrum. Like, is
right.
there evidence of like a dude like playing and like he's also a guy that like isn't a clasher and stuff too. So like it's really weird. It's just like it's just a tough one to get through.
Yeah. I mean, there's real decoy risk, I think. Where it's like,
Absolutely.
hey,
Oh,
he
absolutely.
can't like lift, like
I would assume
how
it's
good is he
probable.
doing this? Can he do this well? He might not be able to. Like he tore his labrum.
Yes.
It could be a pretty big problem. So, but he's still super fast, and they really need to open up the passing game. So like,
I mean, you could catch a ball like this if you're running really fast.
you
Like
can,
even
if you run
faster.
fast
Like,
enough, you don't have to raise your arms. That's what they're telling him. Just run so fast.
although, like we said, we need Mahomes to put it on him.
They do. Yeah, we do. What's
Because
going
that
on?
throw, like that catch that Taekwon had on one of these 4 deep balls he's completed was like, it wasn't like that was an insane catch. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I love, yeah. God, Tyquan Thornton.
what
Breakout
a
season.
world. Like, this, like, and then, what the Chiefs, like the Chiefs roster construction, I don't want to say they made this bed, but they made this bed. Like,
No, they
because
did. I mean,
they
Thornton was cut by the Patriots. Juju was cut by the Patriots. Like, how are you starting both of these guys? It's crazy. You got Hunt, the cast off from the Browns. Like, he's clearly washed. Pacheco, like you had
that's the
so
most
Pacheco was
troubling
a
thing,
bridge to
right?
something, right? And they
You
never.
can't predict the injuries like Worthy, like Travis Kelsey smoking Worthy, like a like friendly fire, like just nuking one of your best receivers again, who clearly was gonna be a part of like the early season game
Yeah,
plan. But
100%.
you knew the Rice suspension was something that was gonna drop eventually, and then you knew
Right.
what you had in this backfield, and they didn't really like put resources to either of those.
It's such a deep running back class. I know they got Brashard
Rashard
Smith, but
Smith,
like
yeah.
it's not. I mean, he was a 7th round pick. Like there was a opportunity to add somebody before that. One of the many
Correct.
teams I really wish could have drafted DJ Giddens. You guys couldn't draft DJ Giddens. That was 5th round was too much for you. A little frustrating. But yeah,
100%,
the Pacheco looks he looks pretty washed now. Didn't take that long. Stomped the ground too hard was my joke in the walkthrough, and his legs
Yeah,
gave
yeah.
out. Yeah,
Well, I always thought like Gretchen's original quote like years ago, like how there's players that make like effort look easy, or like
yeah.
it doesn't show. Like it's like no, this is the absolute opposite. Like
The
this guy,
least smooth player.
yeah.
Yeah. Not a glider.
No, no.
Bears at Raiders. Closing it out with this game. We've got, I don't know, where do you want to take us to where you want to start here? Because this game's kind of fun on both sides.
Absolutely. This is the vertical passing delight. Raiders lead the NFL in pass plays of 20 or more yards. Bears are third. Bears actually lead the NFL in pass plays of 30 or more yards. Well, both of these teams suck at defending the vertical pass. Like we talked about, like with Mariota. So it's like kind of like the perfect storm here, right? So yeah, so defensively, the Raiders are allowing a 61% completion rate on throws 10 or more yards downfield. That's 29th in yards per attempt allowed on those throws. Bears are dead last in that category, allowing a 70% completion rate, 17 yards per pass up in those throws. Even the Cowboys got there against the Bears last week, even though it didn't end up in the final box score. But against those passes, they were 8 of 12 on the throws 10 or more yards downfield. They punted only on 2 of their opening 6 drives. They were in Chicago territory on 7 of their opening 9 possessions. It's just that they pissed all over their legs. They had 2 turnovers in the red zone. Javonte Williams had that fumble strip, which was a great defensive play. They had that fumble stripped out of them. But they were marching. They just didn't finish drives. So
Yep.
I would go right back to like the Raiders side of this being good. Obviously, we're initially going back to the Caleb side because of the pressure stuff. Like if Caleb's not going to be pressured, this is where you want him. He wasn't pressured last week. He was pressured on like 27% of dropbacks, his lowest rate since week 12 of last year. It was the first time he wasn't sacked in a game in his career. So put that on your cap, Cowboys and Jerry, and your defensive.
Wow.
So. But the Raiders are 20th in pressure rate. And when the Raiders don't get pressure, they've allowed a 75% completion rate, which is 23rd, 8 yards per pass attempt, which is 26th. So it's just like go back to Caleb, go back to the Bears, go back to Patrick Graham is going to do the same thing. Like they're number one in the NFL in rate of cover three. 56% of their defensive snaps against cover three so far to open the season. Caleb is fifth in YPA, second in touchdown rate. It's just go right back to Caleb, Rome. The interesting piece here, I think, here and see what you think about it is Cole Kmet a sneaky guy on the slate with Cole Loveland being out? Because he's like a guy, like he has 2 touchdown like games on his resume.
Yeah, it's been a lot of empty routes so far.
Oh yeah,
that's the concern to me with Komet. 80 or not even 80, 76% route participation. And he's at a targets per route run of just 8% target share, 0.81 yards per route run. So it's been pretty rough for Cole Komet. That would be the concern there. But I mean, if you're stacking up this game, I don't think it's crazy. Rome jumps out. I mean, he's the guy. What from the coverage perspective, where are you at? Because you've been kind of noting it was like a Dunze and then DJ Moore. Are we back to a Dunze here coverage wise?
Yeah, he leads the team against those looks, and then we've seen even last week with DJ Moore in a spot like he sucked out with a touchdown, but like he's just not getting targets right now. That's he's on the field a ton, like that's cool, but like right now, I
He has a
mean,
7% first read target rate,
yeah,
which is horrendous.
because I played him a little bit
Yeah.
last week, kind of hoping I could catch a piece of it, and like he caught a touch, but it didn't matter. It was it didn't even matter. Even with the touchdown.
Yeah.
So the targets haven't been there. Target shares under 20% every game.
Yep.
So
it's also dropped in the first three. He was at 11% week 1, then 5, and then 4. They're using him a little out of the backfield. He had 10% of the attempts last week, 12% in week 1. But as an actual receiver, the position that he plays, not good. And then I don't think it's great for him that Luther Burden is starting to get a little worked in. Not that Burden's playable at all, but Burden was comped to DJ Moore in the pre-draft process. Like that was one of when people, it's like Percy Harvin and DJ Moore and that kind of player.
Yeah, my most frustrating Luther Burden take was that everyone just kept talking about being a slot receiver, and he's actually worse in the slot. He's better downfield. Like my profile is like he is excellent at creating separation and getting vertical. He's terrible against like zone coverages. He has no feel for space. He's not a great route runner, but man, like this dude can just create vertical separation. And like we saw, like obviously the worst flea flicker pitch I've ever seen by DeAndre Swift too.
It was so bad that I think it actually like helped the timing of the play. It's like he was trying to do an alley oop. Like
it was dunk this.
Yeah, you could have dunked it. It would have been
But I've always thought that like Burden was more of a threat to play more outside in the NFL than people thought. Like a lot of people just handled him as like the slot only prospect, and I was like, I don't know, man. And then Harmon put out his work and like. Because Harmon's he puts a lot more work research into it than I do. Like he's watching, and Harmon kind of had
to Ayuk, right?
Yeah, he had like the kind of the same take. I was like, oh, cool. I feel good about this now. But like, I've always thought that like let's not just pigeonhole this dude as a slot dependent player.
No, I agree, and I mean, this is all to kind of say that it doesn't look great for DJ Moore.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I'm definitely not that interested in him here. This is going to be chalky, though. I will say, we're gonna have to worry. Yeah, to the extent that we are worried about that. I mean, it's definitely there's going to be some ownership on the Bears stuff. I think.
Yeah, those two. I was just trying. Yeah, I was wondering if you just ISO it and you just say, hey, I don't care. I'm just going to play the one guy, and if some ancillary guys score, that's fine. Or try to mix in like Komet with a double to try to get a little cute, but.
Yeah, I think
the Raiders side's probably the most nuanced because of the JT
the biggest shock is going to be Jacoby Myers, I think.
And then you've got Bowers looks excellent play because if Bowers is just going to be on the field with Meyer being out 95% of the time and not even on the practice report this week, like shit, I'll take my chances. Like I don't give like let's see what happens. Like and then Tucker I know had like he's not going to have the 3 touchdown game, but like there's a ton of signal for him here too.
Yeah, Bowers is it's one of in my heart of hearts.
Do you feel like do you feel like you're just too close to the Bowers thing? Is that the thing?
I don't even think I'm too close. I think like deep down, I think we're probably a week or two away. where like, I was looking at, I was watching Deepak Chona had a video where he breaks down all the
Yeah, yeah,
injuries, and he was saying he thinks this is a buy low window for Bowers because basically like this is an injury he's playing through that will like heal over time, but he's like not 100% healthy yet, but like he's not making it worse by playing on it, so he's playing on it. Um, and we're probably a couple weeks away. You watch him out there; he doesn't look like Brock Bowers since the injury. It looks a little slow, and there's certain 2 weeks ago I was watching Geno Smith. It seemed like Bowers was the first read, and Smith is kind of like sitting like waiting, and it's not coming open as quickly as it should, and it's because like I think he's a step slow right now. So that's like my kind of the truth serum take is that I think Bowers probably isn't ready to like really crush this matchup. But like this matchup is so good. So good. Like it's not even that the Bears defense, has no pass rush and is terrible in coverage, but then the the Bear stars that might be out. I haven't checked the injury report for them, but as of yesterday, it was Jalen Johnson, cornerback, will definitely be out.
goes out. Yeah,
He's on injured reserve. But then Kyler Gordon, T.J. Edwards, and Grady Jarrett were all back-to-back DNPs to start the week. So they're like a cluster of injuries on the worst defense, arguably, in the whole league. So Kyler Gordon got in a limited practice today. Grady Jarrett, another DNP.
yeah.
Edwards was also DNP. So maybe they have Gordon, but yeah, it's God, like I just so want him to be healthy enough to take advantage. Like if he's 90% health, he crushes here, right? Like, but it feels like he's been kind of at like 70-ish. And so that's my worry with Bowers. But I think ultimately I am going to take like this is an emotional game, right? It's like, oh man, I had that a couple weeks ago. I had a golf lineup that I like didn't end up getting in and would have crushed, and I thought about that for like 3 days. If Bowers crushes this week, I do have a lot of best ball bags, but
Yeah.
it's not just that like I would have sat out a big week. It sounds like all my friends are going to be on Bowers, so I'm not I'm not going to be the guy.
Yeah, I was the guy not
that didn't
drafting
do it.
Bowers. So it's like, yeah.
Yeah, you're on Bowers now. So yeah, I probably end up playing some Bowers.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's me. I think I have it down to 3, and then maybe I'm debating between Komet and Hunter Henry, but I was thinking Bowers, Tyler Warren, Juwan as being my 3 kind of core guys.
I like that core. I like that core a
Yeah.
lot.
And then just debating, Hunter Henry versus Komet as like the punt, depending on how much Caleb I play. But
Yeah,
we'll kind of see. That's kind of where I was. But the Raiders, like, you do have because you can't play all these. Like, they all aren't going to get there. It's the freaking Raiders. Like, not everyone's coming along for this ride. And that's what makes them interesting. But the other guys all like it's hard because everyone has a great matchup. Like individual signal. That's like one thing. Like when you have these defensive matchups and you go under the hood and you're like, all right, well, there's a clear signal for this guy. And like go like every single guy. And it's just like because
Yeah.
the Bears have been murdered by slot receivers, like absolutely crushed. 31st in yards to target to slot receivers, 25th to catch rate. They've allowed 4 touchdowns to slot receivers. So it's like, oh yeah, Myers looks amazing. Then we talked about all the downfield. I led with all the downfield stuff. Like, well, the Tucker is the downfield guy, and Tucker, it's not even one game. Like he had 8 targets the week before. He's on the field for 95% of the dropbacks. Like he's 12th in routes run among receivers. Like it's easy to say like, yeah, to fade him off the game he had. Yes, I get that to the degree, but it's like he's 4,200. Like he's gonna get shot plays against in a game that could just be a bonanza. Like it all makes sense. Like I get it. Like it's just like JT's the wild card here because if he's gonna be 20 to 25% owned, which is what he looks like at the open of the week, I don't know how I can play him. If he drags me, so be it. Because it's not just the matchup, because he's had 3 bad matchups, and this is a good one. It's the fact that his usage, he has like no receiving role right now, like none.
It's loud.
Like they cut it in week 1. He did, and they just axed it. They just completely cut him out. Like he's not playing in these passing on any passing downs.
Well, he was at 47% routes last week. Is what I have after 38 in week 2. So he jumped out. He wasn't targeted.
Yeah.
But
he's got 5 catches for 3 yards through 3 games.
he has 0.05 yards per route run. That's not good. Yeah, the Genty stuff. I think Gentie's sort of a bet against the game, as I see it.
Yeah.
The Raiders could kind of like self-own here, where
Oh,
they had a
yeah.
55% pass rate against the Commanders. That was 16% below expected. They had a minus 10% PROE on 1st and 10. Listening to on the Roto World pod, they were recapping the game, and they're just like, they were just burning first downs, like just setting them on fire. Like there was no
Dude,
chance.
they ran on 4th and 1 with Lobby on a play. Like, what were
Pretty
we
good
doing?
for a take cast guest. Yeah, I think Genty really, you're betting. I think the way he pays off is like this game just isn't as fun as we're hoping, and the Raiders just lean into the run. The passing game has been concerning for the Raiders. Like you do have the Trey Tucker stuff, but like
Oh, it's
Gino's
been all
been
or nothing.
it's been all or nothing. Like his success rate has been really bad the last couple weeks. His time to throw is 3.2 seconds. That's super long. And then he's also like his first read attempts are low. His first read completions are low. The issue that I was talking about with Cam Ward, where he's not seeing a second read in the plays inning, he's tied for the second highest rate there. And so it's just like an offense that is not like what you're seeing is like the first read like isn't working out at a high rate, and it's taking forever. So you kind of need a bad secondary and a bad pass rush, which he gets here. So there, it's
Yeah.
like it's a really, really good matchup. Really, really good get right spot for this offense. But you are betting on an offense that's like outside of some bright spots, kind of sucked. That's
Yeah.
the if and so if this ends up being like big chalk on Jacoby Myers, big chalk on Genty, I definitely wouldn't be like wanting to play Genty with the other pieces. I think he specifically would be if I'm going to eat chalk on him, which I probably won't. But if I were, it would be to bet against this game, where there's a decent amount of other chalk, and just kind of how I see it playing out. I guess I'm skeptical that the Raiders are like so awesome in this game that they're like putting up points in the air and Genty's having a breakout. Like, I don't know. I guess
Yeah,
it's
I
possible
feel
the
like
matchup's good enough, but
I feel like the outcome is the Bears get up early, force the Raiders to throw, and then
yeah,
then that's when we start to get the passing stuff. Like something like it opens up like I don't know, 21-7 or something like that, or 21-3. The Bears are cooking. They're indoors. And then the Raiders are forced to come and just do kind of the similar things that they were forced to do last week. But they did have the game against the Patriots where they just passed ahead and were good. So maybe we get that too. But I expected that when I wrote up this game, it was one of the first games I did. And I expected to be into JT, which was ironic. And then when we flipped the cards over on Wednesday on the first DFS show I did, I was like, holy shit, like everyone wants to play JT. Like, and now, like, I thought like I would be like the dude that would play him at like 10%. And now he's
yeah,
gonna be 20 to 25. Like you said, it's a bet against the game. It's not even that I'm down like on this potentially being his best outlook. It absolutely is. But I don't want to play this type of player that's not catching any passes and is potentially not even on it. We don't even know if they can take advantage of a good matchup yet with the run.
right,
Like we
right.
don't even know if
The
that
offensive
exists.
line sucks. Their
Yes.
offensive line sucks. So
Dude, I
I mean
have
that's a
the
problem.
stat. What is it? On his runs. So he has 47 runs. He's been hit at or behind the line on 32 of them. Like this is like what are we
Yeah.
doing?
I honestly like so the Bears, they're 26th in rushing DVOA, 23rd in EPA, 28th in rushing success rate. So the defense is really bad. But the
It's
Raiders are
bad.
31st, 31st, and 31st. Like they're worse. If you're looking who's like more excited about the matchup? Who is this a get right spot for? The Bears run defense. That's who it's a
Probably.
get right. Yeah. So I don't know.
Probably.
A Genty chalk is we've leveled up too many. Like I know we're getting better, but let's take one level down in DFS and maybe move over a little and
And
try a new path.
I know price has something to do with it, but so right now, like where I'm looking at, like so on FanDuel, he's only 200 more less than Omari and Hampton. Omari and Hampton is 7,000 and Jainty 6,800. Why is their ownership that wide? Like, what is that $200 getting you? That the ownership should be in
It's a
such a favor?
famously loose pricing structure over there. It's not. Yeah, what do you
And
need
what is it?
200 for
Let
FanDuel?
me look at DraftKings at that where I'm at. Because again, on DraftKings, Hampton's cheaper. Hampton's cheaper than JT.
It's crazy, man.
What are
There's
we doing?
no reason to play Genty Genty should be a low owned pivot.
Yes, yes. And he might drag us, but like it just feels like such a play.
Yeah,
Like
of
there's no
course.
like it just shouldn't be this high. Is all I'm saying. Like why are all these Raiders this high? And I get like why we just made the case, but like they all can't get there. Like the Raiders aren't that type of team. Like
They aren't. I like it from the Chicago side better. I think
yeah,
that Caleb, I trust more. It's crazy as this, but like this dude, I know who he is, and like he has
yes,
he has a high ceiling. Like if he's able to play his type of ball, which has some real limitations and is not like a consistent way to win in the NFL right now, but if he can do it, it's awesome. As long as he has time to throw, which he has a 3.13 second time to throw, which is also crazy long. As long as he can attack deep against the weak secondary, which this very much is, he's going to do it. He's got a 13% deep pass rate. He's attacking the splash zone 10 plus yards and over the middle at an 11% rate, which is pretty high. He's got an 8.5 out, which is high. Average depth of completion is 6.8, which is high. Cool. Like he's he's attempting a first free throw on 50% of his dropbacks, which is super low. But he moves off his first read. He's not having those failed plays on the first read. It's like Ben Johnson's asking him to do something. He's turning that down. Then he's seeing if there's anything cooler available. And a lot of games he gets sacked because there's not time to do that, Caleb. You got to get the ball out, but not here. Here you can go see, you know what? Who cares if Cole Kmet's open? Go see if Rome's open downfield. You got time. Come back to
100%.
Kmet if you need to later. You're gonna have time. So yeah, I like it from the Caleb side. Caleb to Rome is my favorite way to play this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't think that'll be like somewhat chalk, but it looks like if you were gonna stack that, like the chalk stack in this game would be like Geno to Jacoby Myers with maybe Genty and thrown in or something. Caleb to Rome won't be like low owned, but it's not going to be crazy. So that is my favorite.
I mean, Caleb's in kind of a weird price
back.
point.
Come on.
That's what's probably driving him down versus last week, even though it's like objectively as good of a matchup. Outside of being on the road, it's just kind of his price going up a little bit, and this slate having the Josh Allens and Lamars on it, as opposed to previous weeks where the people are like, well, if I'm going to spend 7.5 on FanDuel and what is he? I think he's a little bit more palatable on DraftKings.
Yeah, he's only 5,800. He's 800 more than Mariota. He's not too bad. But you have May there. I mean, there are other options. But he's, I mean, if Caleb goes, I like the Caleb to Rome stack is like a lot higher upside, I think. Well, I mean,
100%.
Hunter Henry just went off last week, but I still think it's higher upside to go Caleb to Rome.
Absolutely.
Than May to Henry.
And you still do get a little bit of rushing with the Caleb stuff too. Like he gives you a little sprinkle. Like he is capable of moving
in a kind of scrambly way where, it's nice not to have people getting to him quickly. He's back there, got time to throw. I mean, kind of a young Russell Wilson. Is that a fair comp for this guy? It's probably not what they were hoping to be drafting, but I think it's fair.
Well, you would take first 10-year Russell Wilson. It's just the game figured out Russell Wilson, unfortunately, and
you might take but would you draft him 1 overall over May?
Well, no.
Jaden Daniels? I don't think you would.
Oh no! If they had a do over, there's no way. If they'd be lying to you in the face if they said they would take Caleb right now 1 overall.
They wouldn't take him 2 overall. He would. Yeah.
I will. Out of the guys, though,
depending on how Bo Nix looks recently, it might not take him 3 overall.
Out of the year 2 guys, though, like he hasn't played as bad. It's just we kind of, like you said, I think you encapsulate the best is like you kind of know where his strengths and weaknesses lie, and you know where he's at.
Clear strengths and weaknesses.
And if he's able to play in these conditions, like we know there is still upside there especially from a fantasy football stance. Like he has 2 top 10 scoring weeks already. Like we are like
People killed him way too much this offseason too. We're like, I'm not a Caleb Williams defender exactly, but like he had a ceiling last year. He's stunk relative to expectations, and his floor is so much lower than we were promised, but he has a ceiling. And we're seeing that again this year. And this is a clear ceiling game setup for him. Like this checks a lot of the boxes for how Caleb Williams gets there. So that definitely will be someone I'm looking to stack at least one of my lineups. And I like Gino. Like, I don't know, man. Like, this might not be working out. Like he is. I know that it's kind of weird because like he has had some production, and you have the Trey Tucker stuff, and Jacoby Myers could end up like racking up targets here, and there's upside, but like the line stinks, and I don't want Geno Smith with a 3.2 second time to throw. I want Geno Smith like getting the ball out like on time, like short throws, accuracy, success rate. Like isn't that the Geno Smith experience? Why am I looking at the EPA chart that I have? Like he is overlapping with Caleb Williams. Like he's playing Caleb Williams ball too, which could work here.
Yeah.
And that's maybe where not playing it through the genocide hurts ultimately, is because like this is both sides get Caleb ball matchups, and both guys are playing Caleb ball, but I'd rather just play Caleb if I'm playing, like if the bet is Caleb ball, like why am I like, and here's the chart that I'm talking about, but it's like, why am I having to bet on Geno Smith to play like this Russell Wilson-y low success rate, but still like okay efficiency. Like last year, this is where Geno Smith was. High success rate, a little bit lower efficiency than you would expect for the success rate, but he's getting the ball out on time and all that. So yeah, it might work out pretty well in this matchup, but it's kind of a concerning development for Geno Smith this season.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, man. I think we've done it. A little shorter this week because we only had 11 games, but we're still close to 3 hours. So
yeah, we do like to talk.
We do like to talk, as it turns out. Tell people about the worksheet and everything you got going on.
Yep. Writing about all these games over at Sharp Football Analysis. Definitely go check out all that stuff. We are doing a promo that I meant to look up because it was off of the score last night, and I was just trying to pull up exactly what the code was. Yeah, so it's 52% off because they did something for the hit rate of the bets for Warren's bets or something. So so if you use code 52 off, just all one word 52 OFF, it's 52% off everything this week.
Love it. Check out the walkthrough at Legendary Upside. I narrate that on a private podcast feed for subscribers as well. If you're into the audio version,
I gotta listen to that once.
What'd you say?
I gotta listen to that. I gotta listen to that one.
It's I imagine, because it ends up being pretty long too. It might be a 1.75 Xer. But you can go if you just blast it in there real quick, and then you get the charts with the walkthrough, and you can see what I'm talking about. Because I talked through the charts, some of the charts briefly on the podcast as well. So it's a pretty visual article, but yeah, got that companion audio piece for people over there too. Going to be writing up the Dublin game and the Monday Night Football doubleheader this week. Matt Irby's got Sunday Night Football and covered Thursday Night Football as well. Rankings, all that good stuff over Legendary Upsides. Check it out. And we'll be back here, not next week, but the week after, to resume our Angles and Upside podcast series. See you guys later. Good luck in week 4.